moved by the sound of violence.
That's great. All right, let's talk about Bellator 213. We went through 212. 213, Ilima-Lei Macfarlane and Valerie Letourneau. Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, of course, if you're a dedicated listener to the MMA Roadshow, you'll know that she is a bit of a roadshow favorite. An event out in Temecula, she was there as a guest fighter and basically set in on the whole show and basically at 125 pounds just pretty much outdrank me. Pounding beers, and she is fun to hang out with, no question about it.
All-around better athlete than you.
She's definitely a better athlete
Better
than me. And it turns out she can even drink better than me, which is amazing.
Are you excited about it all?
What up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are a podcast about MMA podcasts. Oh, I poured that beer fucking horribly. I am Pulver, and I am back with my co-host yet again, Chris Madaffer. What up, dude?
Hey, I remember my first time pouring a beer.
Hey, this guy with the yolks already out the gate.
No, speaking of beer, that's what I'm not drinking right now. I'm drinking some high-quality H2O because I was hungover all day. That slow day at work. And then after work, I got off work early, slammed a beer and a shot with a coworker, and, had a bunch of food. And that's probably why I'm tired as fuck. But
yeah, that's 100% why you're tired as fuck. Luckily, you did pound a bunch of coffee before we started, I heard.
Yeah, I'm alive and just breathing right now, so it's all good.
As long as you're somewhat breathing, that's a pretty good sign. So we are going to jump into our picks for podcasts that you guys should check out this week. But before we do that, why don't we go to our totally real, super not fake Papa Vodka presents Doug Stanhope presents our sponsors. Yes, didn't fuck it up that time. You just said you're drinking on water, right?
Yeah, but I do have a Doug Stanhope, Papa Vodka presents Doug Stanhope presents sponsor.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so it's actually good old cannabis, whatever you want to call it.
Hey.
Actual cannabis. It's from this, I should say grower, I guess. Los Angeles Kush, lakush.com. This strain is an indica. It's called Redbox.
Nice.
It's aptly named because I imagine you'd just want to rent a bunch of movies from Redbox and get high as fuck. It's good, man. I got this from the MedMen dispensary. The one that opened up that replaced Apothecare on Congo.
Oh,
that place
yeah.
is super nice.
Is it? I've never been around that place.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about this, as far as their marketing, is their logo is reminiscent of the Los Angeles Kings hockey team, who I fucking hate. So I would have given it 5 stars, but oh well, you can't always win. And then I also got these pre-rolls, and probably the most fanciest packaging I've ever seen. It's pretty badass. Lowell Herb Company. They're Lowell Smokes. They just basically look like really fancy cigarettes.
Nice.
But these ones are 21% THC, and holy fuck, I remember I took like 4 puffs, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, don't Jake Ellenberger yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I wasn't Lee Syoting all over the place either.
Well, you were 10% behind him, so maybe that's why.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's... don't worry, I'm not going to get fucking violently stoned while we're doing this, but I'm definitely...
Well, you say violently. Really, all he did was sit there and be unable to talk because he was so high for a fucking 2
I
hours.
guess if you're violently high, that's maybe for like too much sativa or something like that, because that's happened to me before. And I got
you get spazzy.
I started panicking, yeah. But no, I should be alright. I'll probably end up, knowing me, I'll probably end up getting a fucking beer later or something, like an irresponsible person, but... So anyways, enough about weed. What kind of beer are you drinking on?
Hey, how'd you know I was drinking beer? That's a lucky guess. I am drinking Stone and Joy by 1119.
Ooh.
Which I am very excited about. It's a Brute IPA, which I've actually never had any of the new...
Brute IPA?
Yeah, so California has been all about Brutes lately. Actually, all of the West Coast. I think, I want to say Jason Harris on 4 Brewers has been talking about how up north in, I want to say either Portland or somewhere in like Seattle or something, one of those areas, they are really high on Brutes, which are essentially really, really dry well, this one, since it's from Stone, is of course also hoppy as fuck. But they're really dry beers, and I'm excited to try it because I haven't yet. So here, I'll take a sip of this.
Tell you, dude, I gotta look that up. I'm gonna go on Beer Advocate. You said it's a brew. That's because I know brew generally
that's
just
really
kind of
good.
Sparkly. Is it kind of like a dry IPA? Is it like really bubbly?
It's not well. So yeah, it poured ultra aggressively, and I fucked up the pour a little bit on it. So the next, since I got a 6-pack, I'm definitely having more than one, and we'll see how it holds the carbonation. I poured this one a little too aggressively, so it's not ultra carbon. It's not like fucking Miller High Life carbonated right now, but it's very nice. Has a really good finish. I'm actually a really big fan of this beer.
Holy shit! Yours is 9.4% ABV.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Dude, this thing tastes like 4.
At least according to. Yeah. So watch out. Apparently, at least according to Beer Advocate, they said it's an exceptional beer.
That is crazy drinkable for 9%.
Is that,
for
can you
reference,
confirm? Is that what it says on the can?
Yeah, it does. It's fucking crazy. 9.4. I guess it's a double brute. It's a double IPA. For reference, I just right before this, I had a Stone Tropic Thunder lager, which is 5 point.
Or I think it's Tropic of Thunder, but don't worry, I kept calling it Tropic Thunder too.
I mean, that's the intention. The of on here is really small print. And that is a 5.8% beer and tastes way stronger booze-wise than this Enjoy.
It does. I remember that.
So that is that's pretty scary, but we'll see how I handle that during the show. Luckily, I also have a Weizenstefiner or a Weiss. What? I always fuck up their name.
Weihenstafner.
Thank you, Weihenstafner. I think it's Weizenstefiner, but they're Hunkelweiss.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
They're Hunkelweiss Dunkel. And I'm excited about that because their Hefeweiss beers are super good, and I've been on a big German beer kick as of late.
Dude, get yourself a yard of that at like Yard House where they put fucking, what is it, like 3.5 feet long, goddamn like beer bong essentially.
Hell yeah, or like a giant fucking Pils. Oh god, I've been all about Pilsners lately. Anyway, this is not a beer or a booze show, despite my best efforts. Despite me trying constantly every week. So, why don't we get into format, and why don't you kick us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week?
So...
Oh, actually, wait. Before we get into it, we should address briefly. So, last week, about 10-15 minutes before we recorded, all the tweets came out about a certain piece of shit that used to work for Bloody Elbow, who did a couple podcasts that I was big fans of course, prior to knowing about him being a giant piece of shit. I'll just go ahead and say his name once, and then we're never going to say it again on the show, but Ian Kidd can go fuck himself. And I would not be mad if somebody put a bullet in that dude.
Didn't he have... I was gonna say, did they only suspend him for like? They didn't even fire him. They like suspended.
No, they
him for
fired
6
him
months?
immediately.
Oh, they did. Okay, good.
Yeah. They fired him on Friday when the news came out. They just couldn't release a statement until Saturday, and we'll get to that later on in this episode. Yeah, I don't know. It bummed me out a lot. That's why last week we were in a weird fucking headspace, because that news came out like right before we started, and also it's one of those things where it wasn't really it was somewhat confirmed, but we didn't have time to dig into it before we started recording. So I just want to officially say, fuck that dude forever.
Yeah, that guy's a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, and we will talk about other Bloody Elbow stuff here later on. But when you don't ever hear us mention his name again, that would be why. Also, I wish you could delete retweets from a no longer active Twitter account, but you can't. So that sucks. Yeah. But, yeah. Anyway, fuck that dude. And, hey, just pro tip. Don't watch kids fucking, or don't fuck kids. I didn't know I would have to say this. But, yeah.
Yeah,
pro
that's
tip.
something that's rhetorical. But, yeah, unfortunately for that piece of shit, yeah, don't do what he did.
Well, yeah, and also this is a good reminder that just because we say a show is good does not mean we endorse anything anyone does ever outside of their podcast. So, just for the record.
Yeah, this is an MMA podcast, so we try our best to stick to talking about MMA.
Yeah.
We'll keep it
Well,
that way.
and booze.
And booze.
But it's not really about booze, but kinda.
Yeah. That's the
Anyway.
underlying theme. Anyways,
Yeah.
my catch is...
Thank you. Let's take us out of the darkness. Chris, bring us to the light with your episode you recommend people can't miss should catch this week.
For me, it was MMA Roadshow. I hadn't listened to John
It was
Morgan in
so
a while.
good. That
I
was
like
also our intro this week with John Morgan talking about how Ilima-Lei Macfarlane can... Ilima-Lei Macfarlane... I fucked that up so bad twice. Ilima-Lei Macfarlane can outdrink him, evidently, which she did at the casino down here in Temecula.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Hawaiians are just a different type of fighter. Just it's insane. Just like they're passionate in the ring and just, I mean, they just go hard, man. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Well,
I
and she
feel
went to your alma mater, SDSU, so really she's like a double Hawaiian.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't help that we have a bar on campus, so imagine the stress of finals. You're like, well, time to go fucking slam some beers.
Dude, your campus pretty much is a bar from everyone I've ever known that's gone there.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So John Morgan got into the Bellator face-offs because as we're recording right now, it's the 212, right? And tomorrow's 213, or is it 211?
You got it right.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 212. He's talking about the Bellator face-offs weren't too crazy, but you can tell Michael Chandler and Brent Primus don't like each other at all.
For real.
He was talking about Frank Mir wants to fight on a card that his daughter is going to be on before she retires, because evidently she's going to turn pro soon. I can't remember how old his daughter is. I imagine she's at least like 17, 18, something like that. But I have no
Almost. I
idea.
think she's like
Is that-
15, 16, somewhere in there. But she's been
Okay.
training with him a lot.
Oh,
and
so
she's
yeah,
actually
I see what you're
cornering
saying.
him
He just-
for... Yeah, I think she's actually cornering
Yeah.
him for this fight.
Yeah, that's got. I like when he talked about that because that's got to be really interesting as far as having, whether it's usually your brother, your dad, or any sort of relative, having your daughter must be an interesting kind of dynamic.
For sure.
To really just kind of realize is, I guess, how I would put it.
Yeah, there's some cool footage out.
Compared to having a traditional coach.
Yeah, there's some cool footage out there too of her and him moving around and him showing her some moves, and I believe there's a short clip of her accidentally head kicking him, if I remember right.
Okay. Oh yeah. What else did I say? Oh, he played an interview that he did with Scott Coker about the salute the troops, and it's like an OSO theme, right?
USO, but yeah.
Or OSO, yeah, USO. God, it's fucking
Also,
shit
shouts to
backwards.
Fiddy, who's in the building.
That too. And them going to Hawaii for the event. I know John said, does it kind of feel good to be the first promotion to go to Hawaii as far as big MMA promotion? You know, him stating that you kind of beat Dana White to the punch. I think Coker was talking about it kind of does feel good in some sort of regard, but it's more or less he's just happy to be there. He wasn't really too kind of prideful about it.
Yeah, and it's the first promotion in a long time. I mean, there was, of course, like all the old Super Brawl and Rumble on the Rock. What was the Show XC? I think it did some shows down there, like the Nick Diaz KJ Noons fight. So Hawaii has a long history of MMA. They haven't done a show there for a big promotion in a very long time.
Because I'm trying to recall, so the event tonight and tomorrow there in Hawaii, the arena, is that pretty small? Or is
Yeah.
it pretty... Okay.
It's only a couple thousand seats.
Yeah, because I remember when I was watching the fights just a little bit ago, I was like, yeah, this place does look tiny. Almost like just a big-ass auditorium.
Yeah, it's pretty small, and that's why I think that's part of why they're doing back-to-back fights. Let's see. Theater seating is 8,800, and I think they're in the concert hall, which is only 2,100.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, when I was watching the introductions to some of the fighters, I was like, damn, it looks pretty cramped in there.
Yeah.
Compared to what I usually see. Anyhow, the interview with Scott Coker was pretty good. It was about, I think, 30 minutes or so, if I remember correctly. He mainly discusses a lot of things. He discussed past interactions with MMA legends, such as Royce Gracie, Lyoto Machida. I believe he was discussing where else Bellator is going to host events in the future. I think he mentioned Sweden or some part of Europe. I can't remember if they've been there yet. I just remember he was just rattling off different places he'd like to see events go.
Definitely.
I like that. I like that enthusiasm from him. It's kind of fun that he's willing to travel. I know the UFC kind of mainly has their circuit besides Vegas, most parts of the United States, and you get the occasional trips to the United Kingdom, whether it's just England or I don't know if they've ever been to Wales. I know they've been to Northern Ireland.
I don't think they've been to Wales. I think they've been
Scotland. They have. So yeah,
and they have they have a show in Czech Republic or in maybe Prague or somewhere coming up.
Yeah, but I feel like just besides Vegas in the United States, the only other major locations, or besides North America, Canada, United States, you'd get Asia, which mainly it's the occasional trip to
China, basically.
China, yeah.
Like
just
or
China,
like
I guess
we're
you'd
like
say.
the semi-Chinas
Japan?
or
sometimes Japan.
They haven't done Japan in a while, but then again, it's because there isn't a lot of big name Japanese fighters in UFC right now.
Korea, they were just there early this year.
Yeah,
That's
they do
that was a
Seoul
big
every
fucking
once in a
card.
while.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there is Road FC, I believe, Saturday morning, which should be good.
Okay.
Or actually, when we're recording this, like probably 6 to 10 hours from now.
Yeah, true. Did you have any additional notes on that? I know you listened
only
to
that
it as
Cold
well.
Coffee explained how to start a fire with a steel wool and a 9-volt battery, which is pretty great. And Dan Tom sat in on that episode, which was cool too. He talked a little bit about the history of Hawaii and MMA and on the islands and stuff.
Oh yeah, because he's a historian, correct?
I don't know if he is, but he definitely is from
that's
Hawaii.
That's Patrick Wyman.
Yeah, you're thinking Pat Wyman. Dan Tom is the guy who is the Asian dude who's from Hawaii. He's on MMAJunkie Radio every once in a while. Does Protect Your Neck podcast.
Yep.
But yeah, it was just cool hearing him. He also actually the other thing John talked about. Well, first off, he mentioned him and Dan Tom both mentioned that they heard Ortega was sick all week for the fight.
Probably weight cut.
No, they said like had a cold, like was fine.
Okay.
But yeah, the cold plus because the cold doesn't get you sick, but having a weight cut in the cold cannot be great for your immune system. So,
that's what I can think of is as far as if he caught a cold, it was because he was cutting weight and his immune system was down.
And they're in Toronto.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear that, and then also John talked a bit about how there's kind of a Hawaii versus Hawaii vibe in some of the fights on Saturday. Especially, there's two young dudes who are from rival camps who are both Hawaiian, and evidently there was almost a big brawl at weigh-ins and all kinds of shit.
No, my coworker, a friend of mine, James, who I told you is Yancy Medeiros' cousin.
Oh, right.
He was when I watched the fight. I watched the Holloway card. What was it, just a week ago already? Jesus Christ. I feel like 2 weeks ago. I don't know why.
It's been a long
Then again, I did get absolutely
week in
shit-faced
MMA.
with my brother and him when we were watching that. What was I saying? Yeah, I remember he was showing me at work. He was like, yeah, look at these two Hawaiians are fighting each other. I can't remember their names, but I know that's exactly what you're talking about right now. Just kind of made me think because he's absolutely hyped on. I know he's watching the fights tonight and then tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I believe it's.
I remember he'd show me those two guys.
Yeah, I want to say it's maybe Timothy Tevez versus Kanan Kawai.
Yes, that's
God,
it.
there's
Tevez,
so many values.
Tevez, that's the guy. Yeah. The
Timothy Tevez versus Kanan Kawai.
Yeah, I remember that because I think he said he was a little disappointed that they're just putting two prospects because I think the guys are still pretty young in the game against each other. It helps sell the card in the sense that it's in Hawaii. You have two Hawaiians fighting each other. Yep. And if they don't like each other, then that just speaks in itself too.
For sure. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for that card tomorrow. We'll talk a bit about it later because I do want to do a preview at least for the main card, but it should be fun.
Cool. So, do you want to go ahead and discuss your catch or multiple catches?
Sure. Yeah, I actually have a couple. I'll start off with my first catch, which is the return of Punch Kick Chill. I was so excited about this. Also, you can see pictures of my dogs on the Twitter account TSOV Pod because
I did
this
see
episode,
a retweeted that pop up on my phone, or a tweet in general.
Punch Kick Chill is hilarious. So it's hosted by Jason Nawara and Justin Golightly. It's maybe my favorite. It's the most... I don't think I can name another podcast where people have more fun doing it. Except for maybe Joe Rogan Fight Companions, but those aren't fun to listen to most of the time. It's just... it's great. So for this episode, they did Tenshin... It's Nasukawa, right? Am I fucking that up? It's Tenshin Nasukawa, right?
Yes, that's it.
Thank you. I had a fucking panic attack all of a sudden, going like, oh my god, am I fucking up the Asian dude's last name and confusing it with somebody else? Versus Kyoji Horiguchi at Rizin 13. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of weird jokes. Like, they start off the show talking about how petting dogs makes you zen as fuck. Hence why when we tweeted the picture of the two dogs I have, I said double pups, because they requested pictures of dogs, because this episode they talk a lot about how dogs make you zen. And so they asked for pictures of dogs, so I sent those, and I think it was Jason tweeted back double zen. And then it's just weird random shit and them having fun. They talk about Kyoji's love of fishing. I should mention, if you guys don't know the format for this show, they sit there and watch a fight and do like a weird fucked up commentary with weird inside jokes. It's one of those shows that you should probably listen to from the beginning, because they have weird bits like the time nexus that they tie into multiple episodes. They also referenced the joke they made about the episode I recommended a while back about how I was a sick kid in a hospital who wanted them to watch
hilarious.
Nick Diaz. So they made a reference to that during this. They also talk about, here's a quote, watch this living anime character fight the best fighter in Japan. It's real goofy. Justin explains how he can't be attacked while petting a dog because the dog's his homie and he'll give him a heads up.
That's fucking great.
Also, at one point, Kyoji during that fight eats 2 dick kicks in a row, and they pitch that all events for combat sports should have an emotional support dog for fighters who get hit in the dick. So essentially, you have like your ice bucket guy, your towel guy, and the guy who hands you a corgi.
That'd be actually kind of neat. You just go to your corner, there's like a little dog there.
Well,
or
so
a regular sized dog.
Yeah, he mentioned that after the first time he got hit in the dick, and then he got hit in the dick again, and he's like, somebody get this man a dog. There's crazy accent. It's really good. Tenshin at one point enters the time nexus, and shit goes real crazy. And they play the Power Rangers song over the end of the fight because they are convinced that Tenshin is just a Power Ranger.
Hell yeah, man. That sounds fucking hilarious.
It's great. It's just lighthearted, and after a week of depressing podcast news and stuff, and a lot of depressing topics covered on podcasts, it was nice to have one that is just 100% goofy and fun and lighthearted. So, highly recommend checking that out.
Cool.
Yeah, and then my other episode I recommend is the co-main event Power Hour from last Friday. Did you get a chance to hear this?
Unfortunately, I did not.
Oh, that's right. You're not. So this is the show they do on their Patreon.
That's their
page.
Patreon, right? Yeah, I need to get in the now, man.
Yeah, you should. It's really good. And also, if you subscribe to their Patreon, I think you still get a cozy, or a koozie rather. What am I saying? You get a beer
koozie.
Yeah, you get a beer koozie that says it has their logo on it, and the bottom is, oh god, I wish I could remember what the bottom is. It's one of their segments from the show that has the word "fuck" in it.
Does it have to do with like astronaut cigarette stuff?
No. Although I do have that shirt coming to me here shortly.
Or cowboy astronaut or astronaut.
Yeah, the cowboy astronaut cigarette shirt is so dope. I definitely ordered one of those.
I would imagine if you wanted to put like some sort of slogan or catchphrase, you could be something from Sir Nigel. You put like on a beer koozie.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. But yeah, overall, it's just a really fun episode they did. They talked a bit about Greg Hardy fighting on the same card as Rachel Ostovich and how it's just you have to be a goddamn idiot to book that. The UFC PR team telling reporters to only ask about the fighters on the card and not any of the Greg Hardy stuff. And Ben Folks addressed all the MMAJA criticism that they didn't do shit about that. and the UFC kind of just punked him, which it kind of did. And that'll come up later. Let's see. So the reason why this was a catch for me is because they each picked 5 MMA cards that'd be fun to watch while day drunk during the holidays. And it's just awesome. They go back and they pick a bunch of old cards, couple recent cards, that are just fun to get hammered during the day over the holidays and watch that. So I really enjoyed it. And also, Ben Folks has a shout out to Bob Marley Fest at Sports Arena down here in San Diego from back in his SDSU days, which was funny. Okay. And then Ben tells a story about hanging out with Thiago Alves when he was doing a story on him way back in the day that was pretty funny, about like getting a death look for like grabbing one of the appetizers off the appetizer plate because Thiago ordered it for himself. And Chad tells a funny story about meeting Rampage Jackson with his buddies before he was a journalist. So, just some fun old stories, and it's cool to hear them talk about some old school cards that are fun to watch while day drinking. That is 100% my jam.
Yeah, I have to go back and do that as well. Just kind of go through. I don't know if it's an option yet, but I think you can. Can you queue up fights on Fight Pass so that they're kind of on the show? I can't remember if you can do that.
I think there's like an add to my queue or something like that.
Because that'd be fun. You just kind of queue up some fights in a certain order that you want, and just press play.
And they did entire cards too, which are like the whole card is on Fight Pass. So you can, I think they altogether had 10 different UFC cards. So they and some of those recommendations are real goddamn good. Like the one I'll spoil is they did talk about Pride 33, which is one of my favorite cards of all time. That's the one where Diaz is really high and boxes up Gomi and hits the Gogo Plata on him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I remember. That's a fucking classic.
That's the one where allegedly Diaz was smoking joints all the way out to the event in Vegas, and then also smoked a joint in the locker room, allegedly.
Yeah, all alleged, of course. Let's see. You said you had another catch as well, an additional one?
That was my additional one.
Oh, see, I'm fucking late right now. See what I mean, guys?
So yeah, those are the ones we recommend people catch. Did you have any others for that?
Yeah, I'll mention it now. Might as well. It was a new podcast that I hadn't listened to before.
Do you have another new podcast, or you want to save this for the new podcast?
I'll save it. Yeah, I'll save it. All right. Let's save it.
Perfect.
That's a good call.
Well, on that note, then we will jump into the MMA podcast. We recommend people skip this week. Also, I should give the Eugene S. Robinson style disclaimer. Just because we say to skip your show does not mean we hate your show. Just means it wasn't worth the time it took to listen to it and fight a better fight or show a better show. And next time, it might be on a catch or a can't miss. So, Chris, what's the show you recommend people skip this week?
So, for me, this one's kind of more a half skip. Or I guess it's just a full
half skip.
I guess it's kind of a full-blown skip.
Never go full skip.
Yeah. Believe you me, I can't remember what episode it was. I need to start writing the episode numbers down.
I got it. Keep going.
But for the first fucking 10, 15 minutes, they kept arguing about Christmas songs that are canceled. Yeah. And that song "Baby It's Cold Outside" being rapey or not, and then
episode 102.
And then Michael said, "Yeah, but there was a popular Christmas song from the UK where the lyrics literally say, and they played it for a second, 'Get out of here, you maggot, you cheap lousy faggot.'" Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's an actual.
It's by the Pogues too, if I remember right.
Holy shit, that's fucking absolutely terrible.
Well, to be fair,
when it was recorded, I get it, but still,
and a little different context in the UK at that time, but they didn't mean it in the cigarette way. No. And it was a lady saying it, so it also takes some of the sting off it from the time, but still, yeah. They talk about a lot of upsetting things on this episode.
Yeah, and honestly, I just got really distracted. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I think I was listening to this when I was driving to work, and I was driving home from work. I remember I briefly wrote down that they were both insanely impressed by Holloway's performance, but they don't want to see him go up to 155 just yet. I know that's what Dana wants. Max wants to do that eventually too, because he wants to go after the pound-for-pound title.
Yep.
In that sense, the virtual belt of being pound-for-pound best. So that's all I had for that. It was too distracting. Too many off-topic stuff, and it's entertaining. They have a way to keep it entertaining. That's but that's not the problem with it. The problem is there was just too many off-topic stuff for me to kind of.
I mean, that's fair. They also talk a decent amount about Randy's
Oh
new
yeah.
video.
Oh, I remember hearing that. Now that you fucking mentioned that, that was very odd.
Randy by name, Randy by nature, I believe is Michael Bisping's quote.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Handy Randy. That's what they might as well fucking call him.
Oh, well, yeah, that's TJ DeSantis' best quote of this week is he mentioned on, I believe, Collapse MMA, which may or may not come up here in a minute. TJ DeSantis said the line, I guess the Brazilians were always right when they were calling him Handy. Pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, touche to that.
Yeah, a lot of sad Randy Couture talk this week, which that all started because a dude tweeted to Jordan Breen saying, "I don't know who else to tell about this, and it made me really sad, so I'm giving you this burden." And let him know that the Randy jerk off video was a thing. So it's fucked up.
Yeah, I just have no comment on that. I don't even want to know why he did it, but just accept that. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter.
Oh, well, oh man, you know what? Well, I'll talk about it in a bit. But there may or may not be our intro, or I mean not our intro, our clip for the first break. May or may not be a certain podcast talking about that, which was fucking hilarious.
Well, as long as it's funny.
It's real funny. It's real upsetting though, but real funny.
You know me, I'm a piece of shit when it comes to humor. So.
Yeah, you and me both. Well, I guess I should move on to my skip for this week. My skip is MMAJunkie Radio episode 2817 with Kevin Lee. They just don't talk enough about fights, and Gorgeous George says crazy person shit a couple times. They talk a little bit about watching 231 with the troops. It's all talk about them hanging out with the troops because they just went on a military tour in Texas.
Okay.
Hanging out with them, which that's cool, but also not why I listen to your MMA show.
Yeah.
It's cool that you did it, but I definitely don't want to hear how it was fun for you to hang out with the troops. It does nothing for me.
Yeah, or just don't talk about it for the whole time, the whole duration.
It was a lot of the podcast. Yeah. The rest of the podcast was talking about a bunch of the rest. That
was Trevor right there.
I could tell. Shouts out to Trevor, who may or may not be a guest here shortly.
No, he's planning on it, by the way.
That's cool. Perfect.
So he will be a guest.
That should be dope. But they also talk about in this episode a bunch of touristy shit in New York, since they're out there recording this episode with producer Danny Otto, I want to say his name is. And then Gorgeous George says shit like he thinks Aldo. He thinks Aldo is still the GOAT, but he says Valentina might be the women's GOAT.
That's interesting.
Which there's 7 reasons why that's not possible.
Yeah, that's why me saying that's interesting, I'm just internally no, I don't agree at all, but I would like to hear his reasoning.
It's his reasoning. It's that he ignores that Amanda Nunes is a person, and he only remembers the Priscilla Cachoeira fight. Those are the 2, and she beat JJ. Those are the 3 reasons.
Yeah.
And then after that, Kevin Lee calls in, which is good as always, and talks about the Al fight. So it's not a terrible episode. I don't hate any part of it. It just wasn't nearly focused enough on the anything fight related that I think it would be, unless you're interested in hearing them hang out with troops in Vegas or in Texas, or about touristy shit in New York. Probably aren't missing a lot.
That's cool. I mean, I always love hearing about Kevin Lee. I know last time I think I heard him talk, I remember he had full on bought a house in Vegas, and I think he had his parents and his siblings move in with him, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, something like that. I know. Yeah. He's a good dude, and his brother's cool too. His brother's been on MMAJunkie Radio before, and he's a fighter.
I think Keith is the other one who's a fighter.
Keith,
or a martial artist, I should say, properly. But yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely moments in that show that's all right, but overall, it's a skip for me this week. So why don't we move on? What is the MMA podcast you recommend people can't miss this week?
So for me, it was heavy hands. I really liked.
It was really damn good.
They were really all hyped up on Thiago Santos, and for good reason. It's another case where a middleweight, or I should say a gigantic middleweight, goes up to his proper weight class at 205, a la like an Anthony Smith, except this time Thiago Santos looks like, as I think Connor said, it looks like Anthony Johnson with less fear.
Yeah, and I think I want to say,
take.
yeah, I want to say Phil McKenzie also said Thiago Santos looks like he just wants to punch everything the fuck to death.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
and they said, will you be excited when Thiago Santos eventually knocks out John Jones? I mean, I would like to see that, but I don't know if that'll happen. One can dream.
I believe they also call him the savior of light heavyweight at a certain point.
Yeah.
And talk about how he should always change he should like actually game plan during his fight camp, and then every time in the locker room just decide, fuck it, I'm just gonna go in there and wing bombs the entire time.
Yeah, or
he's
do
just
crazy
he's a madman.
Back spinning fucking heel kicks.
Spinning heel kicks to like fucking weird leg kicks and all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean the dude had crazy stamina. I'll give him that, and which was a really impressive short fight, albeit, but that was
wild as hell.
I had Jimmy Manuwa in fantasy based on I knew that I was probably gonna lose.
It was going one way or the other.
Yeah, I remember at one point Jimmy kinda clipped him, but it was still fun to watch.
See, I had on the main big league that we have, I had Santos, I had Valentina, and I had Max Holloway. So I got like I think 70 points on that card.
You're killing it in that league. I think you're in first right now. So.
I'm in first by like 20 or so points.
Yeah.
But I did get fucked today by by Jessica Rose Clark.
Oh yeah, that fight got canceled, I believe.
Yeah, she passed out, I guess, during the weight cut. It's a bummer.
So they also they discussed Holloway. They said they made his fight look more like a performance because it was just how dominant it was. And I think he landed 500 strikes. Like, holy shit. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think he set a record for most strikes landed in a round.
Yeah, I didn't realize Ortega took that much punishment. And I know, like, I think you said you wanted to briefly recap the card later, if you'd still want to do that.
I mean, we'll do it throughout this, pretty much.
Yeah, basically, so I'll say quickly, I thought that was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. The way he would transition, he'd move his hips to go to dig to the body, just whether it was with the left low hook, to the ribs, and he goes to the right, and then he goes with the uppercut, and then he just backs away using his jab. Like, holy shit.
And the way Jack Slack pointed out, he kept ripping, like, behind the elbow to that nasty kidney punch, or as Jack Slack calls it, the soul's dick.
Yeah. It's just crazy, man, how much better Holloway's gotten in just the past 5 years alone. If you were to ask me who you want to see him fight at 155, I actually want to see that Conor rematch. I mean,
everybody does. I don't care about it. I want to see the Moicano fight. But whatever.
I'm saying if he goes into 155, but yeah,
I know. But if he goes up to 155, I would rather see the Tony Ferguson fight. I think that's maybe the most fun fight.
That'd be more fun, and yeah, Habib would be interesting. But then I kind of almost can't really pick anyone to beat Habib right now, just based on what we've seen from him too. Yeah, but it's still.
I might actually take Holloway.
But yeah, what I'm saying, if it's
really
Holloway,
close.
that's a really good matchup for him, just based on just his volume.
Yeah.
They talked about Ortega's tremendous amount of heart and his adaptability. I think round 3 was the lone round which he won before obviously it was called off.
I still didn't have him winning it, but he did much better, yeah.
Yeah, or I should say not necessarily won, depending on how you scored it, but his best round is what I'll call it.
Definitely.
And I remember he did land some really good uppercuts. I think he threw in some short elbows. Max's footwork was so good, they said McGregor would be envious. Granted, the lateral movement of Max was a defining tactical moment. I think it was according to Connor. They said, is there anyone else in the UFC that throws as much like a boxer in Max Holloway? And that kind of made me think, besides people or other martial artists who say they started out as a boxer. I'm trying to think, you know what I mean? Maybe you can help me out. Who kind of more throws very similar like a it's
Bilal Muhammad has a little bit of that. But not he like nowhere near the level of like working up and down the body like the way Max does. I'm sure there was back in the day. I would have to think more about it. but no one's been able. No one has
Stipe was doing it for a second, but
yeah, but like not nearly as technical.
No, not nearly,
nearly the footwork. Like that's the thing about Max is his fucking footwork has gotten incredible. Like Luke Thomas had a great segment about this on the MMA Hour this week with just the way he was able to. He has like 6-punch combos where he's switching multiple times throughout the combo and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. They said Ortega soon realized he couldn't trade Holloway in the pocket. I think you and I discussed before that Ortega's going to have to work on his wrestling. When your bread and butter is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, now I'm sounding like fucking Shannon.
Or like Combate Americas, who said Brazilium?
When George W. Bush, what did he say? Oh yeah, there's that news article. Like there was an accident, like a train. Something happened in Brazil. This is probably like 15 years ago. And I remember it said like 1 Brazilian lives, or like I think it said 500 Brazilian lives were lost. And he literally said, "How much is that?" Like how much is a Brazilian? Like oh no. I always
That's
remember.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. It's probably the best qualities about George W. Bush. He made me laugh. Anyways, I'm not getting into politics. Valentina was just too strong and big, and that Muay Thai clinch advantage led to takedowns and some trips, which were beautifully executed.
Yeah, her clinch trips were nasty in that fight.
I gave one of the rounds. I scored it 49-46 as well when I was watching it live. I'm trying to remember what round it was that Ioana won. It was the one where she started kind of.
I want to say it was the
jab.
4.
She was going to the body too.
It was either the 3rd
That's
or
another
the 4th.
fighter, I guess, who boxes pretty well is Ioana. I know she kind of like darts in and out with the jab.
Hers is much more
a little bit.
Yeah, hers is much more Muay Thai focused though, with all like the long push kicks and stuff like that.
She'll throw in with her knee too. She'll just kind of lunge forward with the knee. They both discussed, even though Ioana had more technical prowess, it wasn't enough. They quickly discussed Cowboy Oliveira's fight. They said he forces too many things during a fight, and they called him the Derek Lewis of welterweight, which was interesting to me. I think that when he wins, it's by dominant fashion, but when he loses, it's because, like they mentioned, he forces too many things, and I agreed when they were citing examples of that. I think the Yancy Medeiros fight was one of the big ones, too, as well as the Cowboy Donald Cerrone fight. Then they ended the podcast essentially hyping up Thiago Santos again. I think even when I downloaded the episode from the direct link file, the file was named like Thiago Santos or something like this, like all written out. So
sounds about right.
Connor and Phil are big on him. They said they think he's going to run through everyone at 205. That'll be remain to be seen, but I'm excited for the guy. I mean, if you ask me who your top prospects or up and comers, Anthony Smith is up there. He's probably on the borderline. He's right there for a title shot. You get Dominic Reyes, the young up and comer guy. You have Alexander Rakic now. There was another guy. Oh, Johnny Walker.
Yep. All those dudes are looking
man,
great.
And you're making 205. Holy shit. And
finally, there's a new breed.
205. Yeah, it's good, man. It's like, can we please, is laughable and fun as a person as he might be, John Volante belongs nowhere in that top 15 at all. So we need these new guys.
I mean, fucking Shogun's in the top 10, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that, but
I know. It gets real sad real quick. One funny thing they also mentioned on that show is Phil McKenzie had one of my favorite comparisons of all time. He talked about how Ortega upped the pace in the 3rd, and Max Holloway did the classic Princess Bride. Ortega says, "I'm not left-handed," and then Max says, "Oh, I'm not left-handed either," and just ups it even more.
Oh, yeah.
But that was a fucking awesome comparison. And then segment 3 on that show got corrupted, I think, right?
Yeah, I wrote that down because I was like, wow, this episode's only an hour long. And then, like, 6 minutes ago, Connor had a recording saying, yeah, the file got corrupted. So I think they were gonna add something to the Patreon. Yeah, they did a bonus up on Patreon that came out like a couple hours ago. We're recording this Friday night during the Bellator card, and I look over and it looks like are we just giving away these results? We'll talk about it after the break. We'll talk a little bit about this. Yeah, I'll ask you quickly. I'll ask you later. I just wondered if the main event was on, but no, it's AJ McKee's fight just ended, and he. Okay. Wow, we'll talk about it. Anyway,
Yeah, man, it was a great episode. I wish the last segment didn't get corrupted, but it was still really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it all the way through. So how about you? What is your can't miss?
So I have two can't miss episodes. I'll run through them here briefly. Collapse MMA, which is of course from TJ DeSantis' Between Rounds Patreon. It's him and Jordan Breen. They go back and watch old fight cards and do like a really deep dive on it. I think this one it's over 5 hours. I know that. It's 3 parts.
Oh, wow.
It's fucking incredible. Yeah. It's all about UFC 66, which is Chuck vs. Tito 2. And it's just really interesting. They talk about the context for the era, how dark it is that Tito vs. Chuck 3 is happening. They taped the first episode actually before Tito vs. Chuck 3. And then the second episode and third episode, or second and third part of that episode, are after that fight. So it's like they already were talking about how dark it is that fight's even happening and how the fuck Chuck Liddell is allowed to fight. And then after the aftermath, I mean that too. But it's just a lot of fun. They go in crazy directions on these shows. It's hilarious. Also, this is where TJ DeSantis had the amazing this is why the Brazilians call him Handy joke, because they talk about the Randy Couture jerk off video.
Yeah.
Jordan Breen also mentions that in the middle of the night on a World Star binge or like 5 a.m. he found a guy who got kicked out of a restaurant for refusing to pay. And he's in the parking lot yelling at the employee. And in the middle of yelling about it, he goes, "This was supposed to be a party for the UFC fighter I know, Julian Lane. Everything was supposed to be free," which is fucking hilarious. Jordan Breen also has the line that Joe Rogan has the density of a dying star, talking about how fucking just ripped that dude is, which is great. And then they go through the card, the UFC 66 card on Fight Pass, and talk about some of the weird editing on it. They talk about Jeff Munson being the fighter who gives the least amount of fucks. And they talk about the giant clusterfuck that is Andre Arlovski versus Petapano, featuring Andre's tag team partner Herb Dean, who just allows Andre Arlovski to cheat like 8 different ways, and it's fucked up.
I forgot that was a thing.
It's, oh my god, Herb Dean like separates him from 50-50, but then doesn't actually separate him, and then never says go, but reinitiates the fight, and then so Andre Arlovski just has his hand corked and just unloads on Petapano like a half second after Herb Dean says start, except I don't even know that he actually says it. It's fucked up. But it's a great episode. I mean, if I had notes on all 5 hours, it would be this entire show. But just know, if you like anything Jordan Breen does, or if you like anything about old school, like throwback MMA, it is exactly what you're looking for. And also, I mean, I already talked about earlier on this episode. Oh no, I didn't. I'm going to talk about it in a couple minutes about some other TJ DeSantis shows that you should definitely listen to. So, Between Rounds is probably the best deal on Patreon right now for the amount of content they're putting out. So, highly recommend it.
Cool.
And then real briefly, the other podcast I recommend people can't miss, and this one is dark, but it is amazing. It is If I Did It, Bloody Elbow Repents. So, of course, if you guys don't know, that one pedophile piece of shit used to work for Bloody Elbow, and If I Did It is a show where Bloody Elbow staff members, actually, I think the only member
or like
of the Bloody
contributing
Elbows
members.
Well, so that's the thing, is I think Kid Nate is actually the only member of Bloody Elbow staff. I think Alexi Ald and Eugene S. Robinson are just guests, technically. So they all talk about the Bloody Elbow situation, and generally this show is about giving PR advice to the MMA world, not beyond. So essentially they go through and say, hey, you're Bloody Elbow, and what is your PR take on Ian being a convicted pedophile? So Eugene goes first. He compares himself to Belgium in World War I, in that everyone just started attacking him out of nowhere for something he wasn't at all involved in and didn't even know who Ian Kidd was, which is pretty funny. And then Nate says Nate is of course like basically the head guy for Bloody Elbow, Kid Nate, and he talks about how he wishes he knew earlier what that asshole did. He explains that dude was a good writer, but clearly a giant piece of shit. He talks about Vox Media handling it super fucking poorly. He said the statement didn't go out until Saturday because of a corporate mistake that was made. Like, essentially, middle management received the good to go on releasing a statement late Friday, but they didn't tell anybody till Saturday. Which, at that point, the entire Bloody Elbow staff almost went on strike because of how badly it was mishandled.
Yeah, that's not how that's supposed to work.
No, especially in those kind of crisis situations. You can't just be middle management and be like, oh, well, it's Friday night, bro. It's like, that's not how that goes. Evidently
news. It's all about immediacy, so they fucked up on that.
Yeah, and especially since corporate gave them the okay and just nobody passed that information along. Yeah. So it was interesting to hear their take on it. They've also put out some articles which are interesting with like screenshots of their group chat, of their Slack chat they had going the night that they found out after Zane got the tweet from, I believe it was Fight_Expert. By the way, Front Row Brian, while I like Front Row Brian, he didn't really do shit. He just kind of broke the news after the news had already been broken, and then started doing crazy shit and alleging that everybody knew ahead of time, and like Kareem Zidane was covering for it and all kinds of bullshit, which is not founded at all. I like Front Row Brian, but good God, that dude's politics fucks up any actual opinions he has.
I saw something on a Reddit thread where they were talking about like what is up with these tweets by Front Row Brian, and they were kind of shitting on him for that. But I didn't really look into it, so I wasn't really too sure what that was all about.
Yeah, well, dude is Front Row Brian. I like the dude, but he is aggressively like, we'll just say he's aggressively a Colby fan. We'll leave it at that. And like, not even, which I don't even mind. Like, he is aggressively a Trump fan, which again, I don't really care. I don't politics at all, bro. I don't care. But he is so unbearable at points with just the amount of vitriol he's spitting at people without much facts, from what I can tell, that it wears on people. But it was interesting nonetheless to listen to Kid Nate and all them respond to that. They also talk about the MMAJA, not actually, that was the other topic for this PR, like, you're the MMAJA and you basically got punked by the UFC, what are you going to do about it? Because the Journalist Association put out a statement like, oh, we talked to the UFC about them telling us what we can say and told them that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, but none of you actually asked the fucking question at the press conference because you're all scared, except for Josh Gross, who's not allowed to go to press conferences. So I don't know. It's interesting to hear kind of their whole take on it. And then Nate's heel turn is the Vox Media middle management, where he doesn't quite shout out the name of the dude who fucked up, but he almost does, and is clearly aggressive and not happy about it. So it's just really interesting. It was a really good episode. It's cool to hear the amount of honesty they're putting out about all that.
And that's what you need. It's really what you need. You just need that kind of transparency, really. And
well, that's why I love
those topics. You really need to just hear what people have to say or need to say. I don't like people that sugarcoat it. You just can't be afraid to be criticized. Like, criticized for what? Fucking saying the news? Or giving your opinion on some horrible fucking shit? So yeah, exactly. And that's why it was cool to see them put out the actual Slack chat of them finding out and being like, fuck. So all that shit was interesting. I thought their article on that was really well done. It's just a bummer it couldn't come out sooner. So let's see. You said you had a new show that you listened to this week. Yeah, I'll go into this. I wanted to ask you quickly how close you are to the main event of Bellator. If you don't mind. As we talk, there is some lady in a dress with one leg talking to Jay Glazer. Okay. So I'll go through this quickly and efficiently. It's a USO show, for the record. Yeah. So it's not. She's not like about to get in the cage or anything. No, it's a veteran. Yeah. Yeah. So my new show is called. I don't think I've heard this before. Let's clarify. Not your new show, but not your new show, but the new show you listen to. Yes. I am not coming out with a new show. At least not right now.
I think it's episode 11. Is that right?
I believe that's what
10
they
or
mentioned.
11?
Yeah, so the Super Rad MMA Show, the hosts are Jack and Mel. I believe these guys are from Northern Ireland. I mean,
interesting.
They sound Irish as fuck. But
Episode 10.
Yeah, I think they mentioned they were from Northern Ireland. So they talked about Elias Theodoro. He has a monster chin, and he gets power from his cornrows. They said Eric Anders.
Checks out.
So other thing about this podcast, these guys aren't PC at all. Some of the stuff they say, I don't think they're serious.
Buyer beware type shit.
A little bit, yeah. You might be turned
like, hey,
off by some of these sailor talk.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's both. I think it is. But anyways, they said Eric Anders looked less intimidating because with that Jew fro he had going on. I was like, okay. Sure. They said Gilbert Burns looked great and his striking has improved. They discussed the decision win that Jessica I got over Ansarov. Not Ansarov. Who the fuck? Wait. No. God damn it. See, I'm getting confused.
Yeah, Ansarov.
No, wait.
No, Ansarov won.
No, because Ansarov's a strawweight. I have a
Jukes.
flyweight. See, now I'm getting confused.
Caitlin Chukagian.
Yes. I defeated Caitlin or Ansarov. Now I don't even know, dude. I feel like it's because Jessica I used to be fucking strawweight. That's
she beat Chukagian.
Okay. I think they said they didn't agree with the Ansarov decision also. I think I had it in the same fucking sentence. That's why I confused myself.
That would do it.
I can't remember if it was Jack or Mel, but one of them. Oh, I see. One of them was saying they anticipated Valentina winning her fight against Joanna based on the past 3 Muay Thai fights they had. I mean, that was 8 years ago, but all right. I think what they meant to say is just based on she's a better Muay Thai fighter and can engage the punch better. But
to be fair, from the little footage that's out there of those fights, it didn't look that different.
Yeah, and they were both like 18 and 19 anyway, so essentially it's not too much merit to that.
And wearing headgear and shin pads and all kinds of shit.
They both discussed Joanna is an MMA darling, but she shouldn't get a pass for being egotistical. This is in reference in the post-fight interview. She says, if I go back down to 115 pounds, it can only be for a title shot, which is...
She better hope Jessica Andrade beats Rose.
I hate cutting weight, so my stipulation is it should be for a title shot, and then I'll put my body in harm. That's basically what she was saying. Right. This is the podcast where they mentioned the future of the 205 division being Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker, Alexander Rakic, as well as now Thiago Santos. They also mentioned Anthony Smith. Basically, those are the 5 new core of 205.
And they're all
They briefly discussed the cannabis effort from Elias Theodoro, which I know we've mentioned before.
Yeah, that was cool to hear.
They agree that it should be unbanned from the UFC, at least as far as the testing goes.
Yeah, obviously.
They talked about Max Holloway is in contention for GOAT status, and what I liked about this podcast is they went through his rise up and through the ranks and compared to prime Jose Aldo as well as GSP because of his 13-win fight streak that he currently has on right now. And it was fun hearing them discuss how Holloway's style has evolved for the past 5 years and just the importance of Holloway's winning streak and just what he's done so far as a champion. They also discuss who they think right now at 155 pounds, if Holloway were to go up in weight, who would he beat? They said they think no doubt he would beat Dustin Poirier. They also think he would beat Conor McGregor, which I would agree with that right now.
I would probably agree. I think Poirier's a tougher fight.
Yeah, Poirier's a better boxer than Conor.
I think his cardio kills Conor as long as he doesn't get deaded in the first.
Justin Gaethje, I think he would beat Gaethje too. But those leg kicks could be a problem, but I think Max is too slick as far as just keeping it to the outside and ripping those body shots because we saw that's Gaethje's probably biggest weakness is just getting hit in the body.
That would be the craziest fight of all fucking
That would be a fun fight.
That one or the Tony Ferguson
but
fight
they
are
said,
like the two craziest
I think they said
fights.
of all those fights, Tony Ferguson is the most difficult matchup for him. Besides Khabib. Him and Khabib. They said those are still the 2 toughest fights.
Right.
They said they discussed rumors of John Kavanagh wanting to part ways, or in other words, he needs convincing apparently to coach Conor again because Conor evidently has been partying like crazy, and they didn't hesitate in saying that he's just a massive cocaine usage. with
I mean,
Conor.
yet no shit.
No
Anyone
shit.
who's done coke
Yeah.
knows that.
I feel like it's some others like, well, it's not merited. There's no proof. It's like, dude, just say you could. Like, you don't have to say like You could say I think he does it. Doesn't mean he does because we don't have proof.
Literally exactly.
Yeah.
You're not saying you know for a fact. You're saying
You just say
I've
I
done
think
coke,
he does.
and it looks like he does coke. Yeah. Like he's in a fucking tree in the middle of the night yelling about Nick Diaz.
On
and
that
shit.
note, they kept discussing what they said the sinking ship that is Conor McGregor. They said they related it to kind of Mike Tyson's fall in the 90s as far as stardom going down. I'm not saying Conor McGregor is going to prison. I mean, he almost kind of went to jail for the whole stupid Dollars thing.
Well, I don't even want to bring that up. There's a rumor going around.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was
going
to
to
mention.
Unsubstantiated.
Yeah, it's very
we
unsubstantiated.
don't even know what they haven't even name dropped a sport that the person does. So
yeah, I'll just say all they said because they're not saying it's him at all. They just said. I think it was the Irish Mirror had a story out. Some
which
woman
is
was sexually
pretty gossipy
assaulted
too.
at a hotel. Yeah, it's all hearsay. There's nothing. There's no confirmation of anything. It's all
no charges even being pressed.
Nothing.
Yet.
They just said big Irish sports stars being investigated. Hasn't been arrested. Hasn't been nothing. It's just investigated. So don't get your panties in a bunch. I remember some guy at my work today was like, "Bro, you hear about Conor McGregor?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then he told me this. I'm like, "There's no proof of that whatsoever. His name should never be linked to that. Like, just don't even say that. Don't even tell Conor fans that, because then
for real,
they'll fucking panic." So that was my new show.
That sounds pretty good. I'm actually gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Especially for only 10 episodes in, they sound like they really kind of a handle on this.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of severe MMA. Not in that they're Irish too. I mean, that does help, but the kind of their format is a little similar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
So, I was gonna say, did you want to get into a new show real quick, or did you want to?
Yeah, I've actually got a couple new shows that I'm gonna blow through real quickly.
Pun intended.
No puns. Well, one guy does pretty much blow a pro fighter on one of the shows.
Oh no, I was referring to the McGregor doing blow. He said you're gonna blow through pretty quickly.
Hey, also, you'll see that. Yes, you'll see what I'm. Give it a minute.
We'll give the context to blow shortly.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's just get right into it.
Cool.
I listen to a podcast called "Who the Fook Is That Guy?" Episode 1. Since you set it up so perfectly,
I really hope it's not hosted by James Gallagher.
Oh my god, I wish it was. The episode's about 17 minutes long. There is a bunch of very aggressive music stings and drops out of nowhere that he drops in, morning radio style.
Okay.
He talks about ONE FC
Wacky
going
and crazy.
Oh, it's worse than that. Because remember what the name of the show is. So it's a lot of.
There's Trevor again. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Shouts out to Trevor getting nice.
He has Fight Pass on in the background, by the way. He's pretty hyped.
Fight Pass or DAZN or DAZN?
Fight Pass. He's just watching some old UFC fights right. I think he's meal prepping or something. So, yeah.
I fucks with that. So the dude talks. I forget his name. I don't even know if he said his name. So he talks about ONE FC coming, or ONE Championship coming to TNT, which got announced, even though it's not really coming to TNT. It's coming to TNT on tape delay in 1 hour segments.
Oh, fun.
12 times throughout the next year. And then it's actually coming to Bleacher Report streaming service. So make of that what you will. But he does say that probably means they've jumped ahead of Bellator in terms of popularity, because there's more people that'll watch that, which I think is fucking ludicrous. He also then just pulls up r/MMA and reacts to news stories.
Okay.
He just reads the news stories and reacts to them, and then reads out some of the comments on them, which is fine. But I don't know, it feels lazy. And throughout all of this, he just keeps playing Conor, quotes of Conor McGregor over and over again. So it's so in the background speaking of in the background, you'll just hear him talking mid sentence, and then it'll just be a Conor quote of "I don't give a fuck," or he'll give a pick for Milwaukee, one of the Milwaukee fights, and then he'll play a clip of like, I predict these things, and like, ugh.
God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
it was not fun.
It's just like the Connor Stan show or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally called Who the Fook is that guy? But it is his first episode, so we'll see how after he gets some feedback, what he actually ends up doing with it. But he gives his picks for UFC in Milwaukee, and I don't know, he just comes off a little demeaning to fighters with like some of the hacky jokes he does. I don't know. I'm interested to see where that show sounds and looks like, or sounds like, since he's not doing video.
I mean, I'll check it out, maybe.
I'm curious to see what it looks like in like 6 months, or if it's still around.
I'll give it a shot.
'Cause I think judging a show on its first episode or first couple episodes is always tough, unless it's somebody with broadcast experience. Like our first couple episodes sound nothing like the show we do today. So
yeah, not at all.
Who knows? So I'll probably check out that show in like 15 or so episodes and see where it's at. But as of right now, not my jam. But if you have the username Conor McGregor Nuthugger on the MMA community, you might like it all right.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see. Then other than that, real quick, I listened to Unknown MMA Podcast. There's only 2 episodes out so far, and essentially it's just Amanda Sanchez, a.k.a. Chica, on Twitter. She does like 15, 20-minute interviews with fighters. So the first episode she did was with Diego Ferreira before UFC 231. Just the audio is a little echoey, but it's still listenable. And she just has him talk about some of his favorite things, and her questions are well researched. She clearly looked into stuff ahead of time. And she also does the thing that actually I was thinking about doing a show about at some point, but she beat me to it, where she asks fighters a question about something fans might not know about them. So like a hobby or an interest.
Yeah.
So Diego Ferreira says he's really into barbecue, beer, and motorcycles, which fuck yeah. I fucked with Diego Ferreira.
In no particular order, that's a very good combo.
I mean, it was barbecue and beer, and then motorcycles came not far behind that. But he says his favorite things are meat and beer. He's like, I'm Brazilian. I love meat and beer. So it's pretty good. Great. And she also did an interview with Eric Anders. Amanda evidently lives in San Antonio, and she talks to him about his love of burgers and pizza, working on his cardio for the Elias fight. This is all recorded before that happened. And then, she asked a question to him about what his favorite things are, and he just goes back to, I just like eating, man. It's my shit. So it's a fun show. It's more interview focused. It's kind of like kind of similar to what James Lynch does, or what's the dude? I wish I could remember his name. Asian dude who interviews fighters. Kumite Radio. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I really like it, and it's like short, quick interviews, but they're fun. So I recommend checking that out. And then Aaron Chalmers and Gareth A. Davies have a new podcast called 60 Minutes. I listened to episode 2. Aaron Chalmers, if you guys don't know, he's fought for Bama, and he's now a Bellator fighter, and he's an
English guy, right? Who's all tatted up like Joker, whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's the reality show star from Geordie Shore.
That's right.
Yeah, so he actually talks about training with Colin Fletcher, who was the guy you just referenced, I believe. Freak Show, Colin Fletcher, the dude with all the crazy tats.
Or Joker, or whatever his name is.
Oh, no, you know what? You're talking Jack Hermanson, right?
No, isn't Chalmers the Joker guy? I swear to God.
Oh, you're right. Chalmers is. I'm sorry.
That's all good. No, I think I have heard of the Freak Show guy, though, too.
You have from Tough back in the day.
Yeah, I think that's just a coincidence.
Tough Smash.
Oh, that motherfucker, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. The one that the Whitaker season. Yeah, where Whitaker just cleaned house. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, the audio's a little rough on this, but it's not unlistenable at all. Although Aaron's agent / manager is on and just butts in randomly, which is kind of weird, but it's not. He's fine. It's not like terrible, but it's weird. Gareth is in Hawaii for the Bellator cards, so they talk a bit about Aaron transitioning from Geordie Shore to MMA. He also has a fucking fantastic accent, being from, I believe, Newcastle or something. Nice. And then they talk Fury versus Wilder. They talk Canelo versus Rocky, which is happening this weekend. Talk a bit about UFC 231, and they talk about the Bellator cards in Hawaii. So overall, it's totally okay. Like, I feel like that show and the show with Dan Hardy, the BBC MMA show, are kind of this towards the same kind of vibe.
Okay, yeah, I like that format. So
yeah,
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's totally listenable, and I bet after they get a couple episodes in, it'll be it'll definitely improve over time. So I do recommend checking it out.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Is there any shows that you wanted to give a shout out to, just as an honorable mention?
Yeah, I have as an honorable mention. I'm gonna go ahead and shout out. If I could even fucking find it out. Oh, Care Don't Care. Eugene thinks of the first 5 fights that he didn't give a fuck about at all on tomorrow night's card. He says he thinks of them as a last helicopter going out of Saigon. And then John,
Eugene.
And then John and Eugene get distracted for probably about a good 5 to 10 minutes talking about nothing but their favorite Coen Brothers films, because John happened to have the new Coen Brothers film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, on in the background.
Oh yeah, the Netflix one.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about that.
I like the Coen Brothers a lot. You know, whether it's Big Lebowski, Brother Where Art Thou, Burn After Reading. You know, they have so many fucking films. There's another
Raising
one
Arizona.
that John Goodman did. Yeah, Raising, exactly. You get the idea.
I mean,
they made it funny. They talked about fights that they liked, at least at the time. Andrea Lee versus Jessie Jess, even though that's not happening anymore. Eugene likes Du Bronx versus Jim Miller. They both talked about Sergio Pettis is being promoted, how Sage North Butt should have been.
North what?
Yeah, Sage North Butt is what Eugene likes to call him. What's up? Sorry, you cut out.
No, I'm fucking with you. It's what he always say North Butt what? North Butt what?
Oh yeah, he did say that.
The classic Eugene bit.
Yeah.
That and Nazis.
That too. Yeah, he's infatuated
and also,
with Nazis and fascism.
John Nash permanently took over as the co-host for that, right? Instead of Kid Nate, because Kid Nate can't be bothered.
Oh yeah, and there was a lady, Steffi. A woman on
Steffi
there?
Haynes,
yes.
Crooklyn. She
Yep.
is
she was on
from
there too.
Three Amigos podcast and the
That's right.
Now
That's right.
Dead to the World. She's also now from the Now Dead to the World show, the Power, what's the Wonder Twins Power podcast?
Yeah,
which was her in a deplorable piece of shit, unfortunately for her.
Unfortunately. So then they ended that episode with talking about, is Death Wish one of the greatest revenge films ever? And then they got involved to talk about Charles Bronson. So there was that.
Checks out.
And then another honorable mention, the last one I will mention, is Fights Gone By.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah, Jack was saying apparently the UFC was going to book Sage Northcutt versus Ponzinibbio. He just literally was...
Which is insane.
...was laughing. Like he said...
Why would you do that?
He
you fought Zach Otto last time.
Yeah. He said James Gallagher is main eventing Bellator Dublin. He said all those SBG guys not named Connor have shitty striking but decent grappling.
Yeah, Fights Gone By 110, I believe it is.
Yeah, it is 110. He says Gallagher even imitates Connor's laugh. Fucking yikes to that.
Gallagher is also famously the dude who was talking shit about his opponent, saying "you're fucked" over and over again.
Yeah, I remember he got in that guy's face. Barandeha, whatever his name is, or Bandeja.
Yeah,
he gets starched.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh yeah, you're right. I think it was Ricky Bandejas. He got fucking Sweet Chin music to the face.
And Jack said I laughed when he got finished. It was great. He did no fucks given about that. Then he quickly talked about Holloway's masterful performance with the high boxing IQ, working body shots, turning them into combinations. It was just beautiful work of art. He says Brian Ortega, as great as he is, he still has massive holes in his game. Says he mainly just needs to work on just shooting for those takedowns and just working on his wrestling.
Checks out.
Yeah. And then lastly, the last one I had, he said Valentina Shevchenko wants to defend her belt 3 times a year, according to her. But against whom? The division is empty. Of top talent, at least, I should say. Because who's the number 1 contender? Jessica I believe. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Jessica
weird.
I. Yeah, Jessica I's the number 1 contender right now. So.
Yeah.
I think so. I swear to
guess.
God.
I mean, there's other people.
I know, but
other,
I think as like the rankings, I swear to God.
For the rankings, probably.
Yes,
yeah.
It's I don't want to call it sad because Jessica Ai is a decent fighter, but is she fucking number one? I don't know about that.
If KGB Lee would have fought this weekend, I think she would have got a title fight because I think she would have put on a dominant performance against Jess, and I think she would have skipped the line Paige Van Zandt style because she's adorable. Also, shouts out to her still having us blocked on Twitter. So that's something we have in common with Fly and Brian.
Yep.
Just for the record, we got blocked because we said we don't understand why she doesn't understand her husband has a swastika tattoo, and that's not a good look. And we got blocked for that. And then that was before her husband beat the fuck out of her. So, for the record.
Yeah. So that's all I got. How about you?
Cool. I got a couple. I'm going to breeze through them because I have way too many to actually talk about in depth. Protect Your Neck, episode 105. This was really good. It was almost a catch or a can't miss for me. This is Dan Tom's podcast.
Yep.
He talks a lot about... He's actually drinking Kona Big Wave lager. Is it a lager? Might be an ale. I think it's a golden ale, technically. Anyway, Kona Big Wave. It's one of the better Kona beers. It's no pipeline porter, but it's all right. He talks about being at some of the local media, and one of the photographers that hadn't covered combat sports before was leaning over asking the person she's working with, wait, there's gonna be blood? Dan Tom thought that was hilarious. He also talks about the Asian history the history of Asians in Hawaii, as well as the history of MMA and traditional martial arts, kind of like how locals used to go down and try out their their traditional martial arts at the harbors, just fighting military people and shit, which is crazy. He also talks about his grandma starting an airline and being a degenerate gambler since he's staying at her house during this episode. And then he does breakdowns for Bellator 212 and UFC Milwaukee, which they're very good breakdowns, so I recommend that. A lot of these we talked about. MMA Hour, Luke Thomas did an incredible breakdown of Max Holloway's just stance switching and timing against Brian Ortega. Compares it to Max going from chest to speed chest in the fourth round, which is pretty great analogy. Also, Kevin Lee Skypes in at one point, talks about this fight with Al. Colby Skypes in with his fucking MAGA hat and his fake belt.
Yeah.
He also, Colby at one point during this says, I'm going to retire that 47-year-old virgin, talking about Tyron. And Luke goes, well, he does have 3 kids. Luke's response is, well, he does have 3 kids, so I don't... and then the other...
he's clearly bright.
Yeah, the other great quote is... Colby just asks him, have you ever seen a fight that has more hype than me and Tyron Woodley? And Luke's response is, yes, Jones Cormier too. Immediately.
That's fucking great.
And Colby just looks real flustered.
How about Khabib versus fucking Conor?
Yeah, no, it's great how flustered Colby got about it, though. He's like, but it's one of them, right? Yeah. It's pretty funny. The Outsiders was good. They recap UFC 231. Josh Gross talks about how the UFC PR team told media not to ask questions, and the MMAJ fallout from that. Talks about the Ian Kidd story. Talks about Front Row Brian accusing Bloody Elbow of knowing ahead of time, even though that is a fucking crazy accusation based on everything we've seen.
Yeah.
He talks about John Jones, Ali Abdelaziz, and Malky Kawa and his brother all talking shit on Twitter, which is a fucking crazy move for a manager to do from a PR sense. It's to be like, hey, you guys have talked shit about me, but the guy who talked shit about me was a pedophile, so your outlet's garbage. What?
Yeah.
Clearly no one knew, and also, you still did a bunch of bad shit, Ali and Malky, so maybe tone it down.
It's upsetting.
The Writer and the Fighter, episode 28, which is Jake Smith, the Bellator fighter, and David Golden. It's recorded right after Jake gets back from sparring. Talks about how he's not the biggest fan of fighting and how he probably shouldn't be so honest about it on air. And then they just basically talk about their mutual love of Taco Bell for a while. It's real good. They also pitched that at some point if they should set up T Wood versus GSP for a America versus Canada card, and make the Saps, who is their long-running TV show pitch of Bob Sapp and Warren Sapp being secretly brothers.
Oh.
They want them to be the ring card boys for the T Wood versus GSP fight.
Okay, I mean, as long as there's no hookers around, because then Warren Sapp definitely won't be able to.
Yeah, the only hooker allowed is Dan.
There you go.
Flying Brian did a UFC 231 live stream, which is really good. He basically does old school radio commentary for the main card on YouTube for UFC 231. So he's like trying to break it down as it's happening, which is especially funny during the Thiago Santos versus Jamie Manoa fight, where good luck keeping up with that pace.
Yeah.
He also talks a bit about the elbow that Gunnar Nelson hit on Oliveira, which I believe he said something along the lines of that elbow there with the Harry Potter lightning bolt cut.
Pretty much, man. Holy shit.
Pretty good. He also says that at one point, he says, Valentina's walking out to what I assume is Peruvian music. It just sounds like really fast accordion, which I thought was funny. The Parting Shot MMA podcast on December 10th was pretty good. He talks about the Ian Kidd situation, and Lynch goes pretty fucking hard at Ian Kidd for being a dick to everybody over the years, and Bloody Elbow for not at least being like, hey, maybe don't have your fucking people who work for you be aggressive to a bunch of other media members like an asshole. Which, I see both sides of that. Jerry MMA Show, episode 52 with Bisbing was pretty decent. Which Joe Rogan opens up by trying to get Bisbing to explain the Hawaiian flag. So that was funny.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let's see. Other than that, Bisbing also goes through his description of working in a slaughterhouse, which is fucking horrifying. And then the only other episode I wanted to shout out was Grange TV, episode 27, that had Robert Whitaker on. Whitaker talks about going to the UFC Adelaide card, and also talks about his team on Tough whining a bunch that they're not working hard enough.
Yeah, I liked his honesty. Like he's a nice guy, but he's not a fucking pushover because he's a professional mixed martial artist. But I'm glad he was honest in saying like, well, I kept telling these guys what to do, and they would. What did he say? It'd be supposed to be a 2-hour practice, and like an hour in, they'd be like, I'm tired, or it's just like, come on.
An hour in, they were leaving to go get a massage. And
yeah, like come on. He's basically calling them out for not prioritizing their routine in a more efficient way, and just
understandably.
Yeah, that would frustrate me.
Also, if he's working cardio with you, it's probably for a good reason, because that motherfucker has some of the best cardio. Him and Max Holloway have the best cardio in the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you saw the coaches challenge that just. Backs that up.
Where he's like lapping Kelvin Gastelum, who is known for his cardio.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Yep.
But also that's out of camp and eating hella Mexican food, Kevin Gastelum.
Yep.
So, for the record. Let's see. Did you have any well-rounded shows? Co-main event style, we try and shout out any podcasts or shows that we watch that have nothing to do with MMA, but were super good.
What was it? Obviously, there's Bill Burr.
It's always Bill Burr.
Always Billy Freckles. I did see. Oh, no, I told you about this last week. I listened to one of the new episodes of Your Mom's House. I can't remember. I'd have to back it up a couple episodes, but they're pretty infatuated with Garth Brooks for the past couple of weeks.
Tommy loves Garth Brooks.
And there was this video they kept calling, what's it called? Like, Where's Julia or some shit? I was way too high. Just so you know what I was like trying to watch.
That's probably the right way to watch that show. It's
I'm gonna have to go back, but it was funny nonetheless. But yeah, no, and I know the other podcast I listen to besides Bill Burr, besides Your Mom's House, it's usually fantasy football related or football related because I'm in the semifinals for my fantasy football league. If I win, I get to play for like $800 next week, which is tight. Considering my team has been battling injuries all year, and I'd be playing probably the most talented team in the league. So, yeah, it'd be either way. I get my money back no matter what. But still, I want to fucking win. So yeah, those are the podcasts. I've just been picking my brain at that. I definitely, like I said before, I still need to get in the habit of kind of reaching outside of the box for well-rounded. As easy as it is to keep listening to Bill Burr every day and my regular routine.
Word. Well, for me this week, I didn't actually have a ton. The two that I wanted to shout out, one's not even a podcast. It's just Brewdog. The Brewdog, it's Brewdog Brewing Network, I think is the name of it. There's a link in the description. They're about to change their name to Drink TV, and that's where Zane Lamprey is hosting his new show, Four Sheets.
Cool.
Which is basically it's a follow-up to Three Sheets and Drinking Made Easy and Chug, which he's done in the past. Essentially, it's a whole network about drinking shows and stuff like that. So they're about to transition to Drink TV, and I think they're going to blow up here shortly. So all 6 episodes of Zane Lamprey's new show, Four Sheets, are available. I think it's like $5-10 a month. It's really affordable. They have every episode of Drinking Made Easy, Zane's old show, on there. And it's really good. They're also, Steve McKenna is about to do a new like side thing where he goes back, and I believe it's called Between the Sheets or something like that. But anyway, he's going back and going to do a kind of a companion show to Four Sheets, which should be good. But the real well-rounded show I wanted to shout out was Fighter and the Kid. I generally don't. I used to like this show a lot. The show really has become like the same joke every week over and over again, which is fine. It's just I can't be bothered most times. However, this week it's not really MMA related, so that's why it wasn't on any of my actual picks or anything. But their bit on the Randy Couture jerk-off video, oh my god! So I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm not even gonna say anything about it. We're gonna play a clip of it on this break, and when we get back, we will talk about Bellator 212, which the main event is about to kick off for, or co-main event is about to kick off for, and we will also talk our picks for Bellator 213 and UFC on Fox 31 Milwaukee Iaquinta versus Kevin Lee 2. So I'm excited for it, dude.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll be right back. Until then, listen to Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen have their dreams made and broken in the same time during them watching the Randy Couture sex tape to completion.
Hey, it's Randy Couture jacking
It's
up,
Christmas.
bro.
It's Christmas, so we may as well watch it. Now,
That's what I'm saying.
now he's putting saliva on his dong.
Dude, I don't have a... Okay, so does this make him a bad person?
No.
Have none of us ever done this before?
I've never done it, but I mean, I've heard people have done it.
Fast forward a little so I don't feel so...
taken pictures of
what's
going
on here?
All right, well, Randy.
Why did he turn his ass like that?
Randy.
Why is he doing that?
Can he
Why
get
is
them
he
to
doing
take
this
this
right now?
off?
No, man, I'm watching Randy Couture jack off, bro.
He's just
I'm
being-
sweating. Dude, I'm sweating.
being aggressive.
Keep going. Why is he doing Why is he doing this?
He's showing the...
Oh!
Yeah! All right.
Oh!
All right. Well, hey, stop it. No.
Fast forward, Jay. I'm sweating these jeans out.
My dick is bigger.
Oh! Problem.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We're back to go ahead and quickly recap what you and I just pretty much witnessed.
Literally
Ending-
just finished watching. Although we should... Well, first, let's... Oops, sorry about that. Let's briefly mention how fucking good was that clip of Brendan and Brian watching Randy Couture beat off.
That was hilarious.
It
Granted,
was really funny.
granted, just Brendan's reaction was hilarious. Like it almost looked like he had like confused boner look on his face, or his he was clearly very uncomfortable. I mean, they both were. More Brendan.
But Brendan looked like he was uncomfortable in excited and
At this-
sad ways.
Yes, basically, which comes out to he was just confused but excited.
Yeah. And then Brian was just straight into it and trying to deny it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious.
Dude,
highly
he was
recommend-
spread leg.
Yeah, I highly recommend going and rewatching the entire clip because we're only going to put a small portion of it up, but the whole thing is worth watching. Well, I'm not going to put the part where he watches Randy Couture finish and yells, "That's American as fuck," but I highly recommend you guys going and watching the whole clip. It is Fighter and the Kid episode. Oh god, I had it here somewhere.
Oh shit, it was like 11, 12?
I
No, I don't
just
know how
sent
many
it
episodes
to
they have.
you.
No, they don't have that many episodes, right? I don't know. I'm
It
thinking of Joe Rogan.
is 4 something. 417.
Oh, that was way off.
Yeah, it's 417 and it's like an hour 30 something in, something like that.
Okay.
So, I definitely recommend checking that out. But anyway, we're not here to recap them recapping Randy Couture beating off. We are going to briefly talk about this Bellator 212 card that we just watched, which was great.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed this quite a bit from what Which one did I start with?
Mention what you're drinking first.
Oh, the Sam Cecilia, because that started the main card. Right. Yes, it did.
As girlfriend Karen in the background pointed out, I should mention that I am drinking. I opened a new beer. It's from Ridgeway Brewing. It's a UK beer that was imported by Shelton Brothers, who import some cool shit. And I got this. I believe this was gotten at BMO. It's Santa's Butt.
Okay, interesting.
It's a Winter Radler.
Ooh.
Nope, Winter Porter. Sorry.
Ooh, that does sound interesting. Okay.
It's pretty good.
By the way, I am not.
Oh, that's right.
drinking.
You're drinking beer now too, right?
Yeah, I'm having good old Pizza Port Swami's IPA.
Swami's is one of the best IPAs in San Diego.
It's a
I will
good
fight
one.
anybody who
And-
disagrees. It's
And
really good.
On deck, speaking of another IPA, I have Unfiltered Sculpin from Ballast Point on deck for me.
Also, all right beer.
Yeah.
Not the
Have
best
you-
unfiltered beer. Not
Have
the
you
best
tried
Ballast
their
Point beer.
the
but
spruce tip? It's pretty great.
I haven't, but
it
the
just
pininess.
It just tastes like Christmas.
Yeah, pine like super piney beers are weird. Like I like Alpine Nelson has a little bit of that, or it did back when it was good. But yeah, I haven't tried I don't think I've tried the spruce tip.
I think you would dig it.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes they get a little too bitter for me when they start using spruce tips.
Oh, by the way, since we're on the topic of beer for right now, at my work, I met one of the heads of Ballast Point, the guy who goes around and helps with business and distributing.
Oh, nice. Like the distro guy?
Yeah, I think it was like Jeff or something, but it was really fun talking
Nice.
to him, and I think they're doing like a pairing with one of the levels at my work or something like that, like a beer pairing, and that's what they have there. But yeah, it was fun picking his brain, and I told him like, hey man, I just want to let you know my favorite beer I've had that was like an R&D beer was when you did the sour wench, but you made it passion fruit iced tea. That was fucking.
Shit.
And I was like, I know you guys do seasonal stuff, you'll probably never bottle it, but I'm just shooting that out there for you. I was like, all right, thanks.
I hate passion fruit, but I hate most passion fruit.
Basically, it tasted like. If you're a fan of iced tea, you'll love it. Like, it's a refreshing iced tea.
I'm a
it's
big
still
fan
like
of iced tea. I'm a 0% fan of passion fruit iced tea.
Yeah. Okay.
I will Adam Carolla fight somebody over passion fruit iced tea. However, the passion fruit sour from the brewery was really good though. So I don't know. I guess I can be swayed. And their winch series is great. Like the blackberry winch they do is really good.
That's it's phenomenal. Really good.
Anyway, not a beer podcast. Bellator 212 was good.
I liked it.
It was a weird vibe because of the small nature of the venue and the fact that it was only military in the building, along with the families of the
that's
fighters.
the part I like a lot when you see.
I liked
stuff
it, but
like
it
that.
also was pretty quiet.
I feel like that just shows you that the military guys are just more. I feel like you're almost more into it. That really shows you're even more of a fight guy.
Yeah.
If you don't really react, because I don't. I mean, you'll hear me do the Joe Rogan like "ow" or some shit, it's like something crazy because
Right.
it's fun to do that. But I think that's what that means, man. I think those guys are big fight fans.
Yeah, the majority of them. Even though
Yeah.
one dude did yell out, "You can do it."
Yeah, I heard those. You can do it.
You can do it. I was like, oh god, what fucking year is it, bro? But yeah. So real quick, I just wanted to mention Chris Avila out of Gracie.
He's in
Whatever the
Nate
fuck.
Diaz's camp, right? The Diaz
Yeah.
brothers camp.
What the fuck is the name of that camp?
It's Hickson Gracie's camp, right?
No, good God, no.
Good God,
It's
no.
Caesar Gracie's.
Oh,
camp.
thank you. Yeah, I was
Caesar
way off.
Gracie's Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, no, Hickson is on the East Coast.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, Caesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu prodigy Chris Avila looked real good. Got the RNC, looked decent on the feet. It was good to see him get a solid win. Taiwan Claxton, aka Eric Claxton, who got that crazy flying knee in Bellator, won in the first via ground and pound. That was pretty impressive. Sam Cecilia, Derek Campos, fucking just bludgeoned the shit out of each other.
Yeah, that was when I watched.
That fight was crazy, right?
Yeah, that was nuts.
They just
I'm really happy
the entire
Sam
time.
Sicilia's found like another promotion where he could just like truly fight his style without like.
Me too, but also for sure do something about any kind of body shot.
Oh yeah.
Also, that was a terrible split decision. Sam Sicilia 10-8'd the shit out of Derek Campos in the first round, and then clearly won the second round, and then Derek Campos clearly won the third, but that is not a split decision by any means. I don't know who the fuck judged that way. Juliana Velasquez got the win over Alejandra Lara. From what I saw, she just was able to work the grappling game more, but that was when we were in the middle of recording, so I didn't see a ton of that. As I hinted at on the show earlier, AJ McKee got the win via Anaconda in the first. I honestly still haven't seen this. I looked over and AJ McKee was wearing a Ruka Hawaiian hat with his sunglasses on, looking real happy, and I was like, oh well, I guess Daniel Crawford did not do well in that fight.
Nope.
Javier Ayala, Eye Candy, got the win over Frank Mir. Frank Mir dominated the shit out of him in the first round. But when it came to the second, Frank Mir, he got him down early. He was looking all right. And then it looked like he just gasped pretty fucking hard. And Javier Ayala started landing some nasty shots in the clinch and was able to get the finish via strikes standing. Frank Mir tapped out standing with his back against the cage.
That's crazy.
To strikes, which I don't know if it was just him being in his head because, his daughter was in his corner for that fight. And he also, he was bleeding pretty good, so maybe that had something to do with it. So he looked like he was really having trouble with the amount of blood that was coming out of his head. But, man, and he was gassing hard as fuck in the second. But it's one of those things where you're like, the first round, you're like, holy shit, this is vintage Frank Mir. He's just hitting takedowns straight to half guard over and over again pretty easily and dominating from top. This is exactly what he should be doing, and then he just gassed super fucking hard. I do remember him drinking booze on the Doug Stanhope podcast not that long ago. Or at least I think it was booze. I could be wrong, but it seemed like it was. And that was literally a week ago, so I don't know. But either way, I'm excited to see what Frank Mir's daughter has coming up, because she is a beast in wrestling, has been butting people despite being 15. And Frank Mir's podcast is great. I hope he kind of puts more time into that, and I'd like to see him start. I think he'd be great on commentary.
He still does phone booth fighting, right?
Yeah, that's what that phone booth fighting is his podcast. Thank you for mentioning it. It's fantastic, and he also, like we mentioned, I believe last week, he did a swap cast, which is Doug Stanhope's version of, you do a podcast with Doug Stanhope and Frank Mir, and you both put it out, and you call it a swap cast. You both put it on your own feeds, which I'm a big fan of, and it was great. They're all hanging out, drinking, talking about Richard Hunter's fight that he lost in 10 seconds or whatever. It's fucking hilarious. But anyway, I want to see more Frank Mir on commentary, especially for Bellator. I think he is an untapped resource for them that I'd like to see a lot more of that, because I loved his old commentary on WEC, even though he was in love with Miguel Torres and would not let it go.
It's true.
And then Michael Chandler, Brent Premise, we just watched. Good googly moogly.
Dude, that second round was nuts when Primus knocked him down.
Primus did catch him there for a second. That was the only competitive moment of that fight, really.
That was the only competitive moment he had. He was effective, I think, in his outside leg kicks in the beginning, because Chandler wasn't initially kind of checking them. He was just kind of just going. He was honestly just winging those fucking hooks real hard. Yeah. He had some really good shots to the ribs that were kind of fucking with Primus. Then I felt like he would just wait for that high kick, that head kick attempt from Primus, and just try to get. What did he get, the single leg, and he dragged him down, or was it? I'm trying to remember if he got him in the clinch, because I know we were kind of. No, it wasn't in the clinch. No, I don't think
It was most, yeah. It was, I mean, he just outworked Brent Primus and consistently got takedowns and in multiple ways. He also was doing good on the feet, too. Like, he ate a decent amount of calf kicks, but not in the same way he was eating him the first fight.
Yeah. And
a couple of them even wobbled him, though, but he was able to hang in there, and every single round he came back and ended up winning it clearly on points.
Yeah, and I think he had, what, was it 2 knockdowns of Primus or 3? Something like that. I remember he had 2 knockdowns in one of the rounds. I think it was the first round. Yeah, he knocked him down twice.
Yeah, he was looking real fucking good for a lot of that fight.
So, like I, even though I should, I'm not really up to date on the whole lightweight division. In Bellator, I would have no idea who would fight Chandler next. Yeah, I have no clue. Except for one of those Patricky guys, those Pitbull guys. What the fuck are their names? I can't remember. Patricio and Patricky.
Yeah, Patricky's coming off the win over, who did he just beat? Roger Huerta in round 2 back at Bellator 205 in September.
Unless you give like another title shot to what's his face, Lima or Koreshkov. I don't know.
Well, those are 170 pounders.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm thinking of welterweight now. See, okay.
That's the thing, is a lot of that blends together because a lot of those dudes have moved up and down. But I'm interested definitely to see what direction they're going with that 155-pound division. But yeah, man, Chandler looked good. By the way, Premise is looking like to quote Jack Slack, he's looking like a juicy boy.
Yeah,
up in that fight, he's looking real.
He looks
in
like
shape.
He's been enjoying his supplements quite well.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it on that. But a very good show for Bellator, especially for it being the smaller of the 2 shows by far.
Yeah, I agree.
So I am pretty hyped on that, and I'm even more hyped. We'll go ahead and segue in to tomorrow's Bellator 213 card, which is going to be fucking dope.
I was just eyeballing this while you're talking about one of the other fighters, and yeah, I'm impressed with this main card. Is that what you wanted to preview, or did you want to start from the bottom?
Yeah, no, we're not going to do
honest,
that.
I recognize like more than half these people.
Most of the prelim people.
I imagine, is it the and by the way, shouts out to like I was telling you earlier, my coworker James. 2 of these guys, I think he went to school with him. He grew up with him. I think it was Tevez he grew up with.
Yeah, I believe we said it was Tevez and Kanan.
Yeah, but I think Tevez is his homie from back when he was
nice
growing up. So yeah, shouts out to those guys. Unfortunately, they're fighting each other. Kind of sucks to see like 2 prospects from the same area have to fight, but it happens.
Well, and they're the ones I believe that were going back and forth real fucking hard.
Yeah, remember you told me that. It's like, well, if there's bad blood, then okay, maybe it's gonna be a good fucking fight.
I mean, there's a couple Hawaii versus Hawaii fights on this card, especially on the prelims, because Bellator is always known for pulling local fighters for their prelims. So some of these dudes look like it could be fun fucking scraps. So I'm pretty excited about a lot of the prelims, but I don't know much about the dudes, so we're not going to cover them. So we'll go ahead and start the main card. I don't have a lot to say about this first fight because they're 2 1-0 fighters who are going at it.
So, yeah, I mean,
go ahead and pronounce that first name.
I'm not even opening up the pages. So, Nainwa Dung.
Sure.
Nainwa Dung and Kona Oliveira.
Yeah.
And that shows you the Portuguese presence that's in Hawaii.
That's right. Yeah. Go ahead and pull up. Actually, you know what? While I mention this, go ahead and pull up the best fight odds.
That's right. Thank you. I probably would have forgotten.
Yeah, to see if there's any actual odds on that. But I 100% think that. Oh man! So I'm gonna go on that fight. One of these dudes fought in the LFA, right?
By the way, his best fight odds have Bellator. It's showing the UFC.
Yeah.
I'm a dumbass. I gotta just type in the fucking event.
Yeah, or just type. Yeah, if you type bestfightodds.com, it should have Bellator 213 right there. But Kona Oliveira has a fight in LFA, which he has a win in, whereas Dung has one fight in X1 World Events. So I'm going with the dude who fought in LFA, and I'm guessing he's probably a big favorite. Because LFA is a known promotion.
Yeah, Bellator's not on here for some reason.
Really? Yeah. Bellator 213 best fight odds?
Yeah, I looked up, it didn't exist.
Okay. Why don't you start us off on the next fight, and I'll look into it.
Yeah, maybe one of the other betting sites can help us. Who knows? So this fight I recognize. Two very recognizable.
By the way,
light.
it's totally on there.
Am I just blind?
It's
Where-
just the
where-
main. It's just the main card, other than that fight, though. So keep going.
Oh,
Sending
maybe.
it right now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know where the fuck I was missing or not seeing that. Shit.
It's probably not featured.
Okay.
Although I would argue this Bellator 213 main card might be better than any other main card happening this weekend. Oh, I should mention before we start, CFFC 71 happened this weekend on Fight Pass. It actually happened tonight as we're recording. I was watching Bellator 212, so I didn't see it. However, CM Punk is commentating, so kind of don't give a shit. Road FC 51 with Sohee Ham versus Jung-Yoon Park is happening, which should be a good fight. I think that's happening a couple hours after we're recording. And then we have UFC Milwaukee tomorrow and Saturday, Bellator 213, and Invicta 33, which I should just, while you're looking this up, I should take a moment to shout out Invicta 33. This is going to be a dope card. It's the rematch of Jinyu Fry versus Mina Grutzender, which... If I think you and me rewatch this, and it's a clear win for Mina, even though she didn't get the decision.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see that rematch. I do think Mina is going to get it again pretty convincingly, but who knows, because I think it is also in Kansas City like the last one. Danielle Taylor is facing off against Montserrat Ruiz, and Danielle Taylor, of course, former UFC fighter. Also, I believe Invicta alum as well, so that should be interesting. Kay Hansen is taking a late notice fight against Sharon Jacobson. Sharon Jacobson's been looking like a beast lately, so I'm excited for that. And Amber the Bully Brown is taking on Alicia Zapatella, and that should be a fun fight as well. So there's some really fun scraps on that card that I'm excited for.
Hell yeah, man! All the more reason to check it out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, where were we? Starting with, what is this? Muhammad Lawal.
Yeah, King Mo.
Yeah, King Mo, as you know, is fighting Great Britain, the UK's, whatever you want to call it. Liam McGeary. Liam McGeary, the former light heavyweight champion. King Mo, last time we saw him, he lost to Ryan Bader during the heavyweight tournament. This fight should be back at light heavyweight, I would think.
I believe so.
This event. Yeah, he got knocked out by Ryan Bader in 15 seconds. That was actually kind of crazy. I think it was just like a really good slip counter for Bader. Just got him like right in the button, right in the nose, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's
Straight
pretty much
kill
just
Bader.
Yeah, just a cold clock fucking KO, like just out like a light. Before that, he had a unanimous decision victory over Rampage, but that was a year ago. Wow, he even fought Crow Cop. Okay, and he lost. Oh, wow. Liam McGeary. But then again, we know how Crow Cop's a little juicy today, but you know, he's up there in age. Liam McGeary, last time we saw him, he fought Vadim Nemkov. I didn't see this fight. It says he lost to leg kicks. Or did he just get his legs kicked out from under him and he just quit? Or he broke his fucking leg, or...
So he stands he has real long legs.
Oh,
and
he is
stands
tall
real
as shit,
squat.
huh? Yeah, he's 6'6".
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so he got chewed up with leg kicks in that fight.
And before that, Bubba McDaniel. Jesus, I saw canceled bout. I remember that name. He lost to Linton Vassell, which I did see. I remember some people were expecting Vassell to use his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on him, which that's what got him the win. But yeah, before that, he had to win over Brett McDermott. Oh yeah, he had that little fight, scrap with Phil Davis. What the fuck? He fought...
Yeah, he beat Tito way back in the day.
Wait, where did he get
way
the
back,
belt
2015.
from? Or who did he... Was he...
I think he won it off Phil, maybe?
What? I thought they fought twice too. Dude, I don't even know where he won the belt. Unless just gave it to him.
I'm pretty sure he won it off Phil.
He says he lost him, and they're only fighting against each other.
Oh, you're right. He did lose to
I'm
Phil.
confused. Well, you know what? They might have just
No,
given
so
him
you
that
know
belt.
what? Maybe he... Oh, no, you know what? He won it off Manny Newton, the big homie. I believe.
Oh, yeah, that has to be
Now
right.
you got me all fucked up, but I think that's right.
Yeah, that has to be right. Sorry, I was just looking at who he's fighting. I was kind of confusing myself too.
I'm terrible at Bellator title lineage, so...
Especially in that weight class, that division. Anyways, who the fuck am I gonna pick in this? I Part of me kind of wants to lean King Mo because of his wrestling, and I know Phil Davis fucked McGeary up with the excuse me, god damn it, with the boxing and then transition to wrestling. I know McGeary is way fucking bigger. I mean, than most. Hell, he's bigger than most heavyweights. Longer.
He's bigger and longer.
King Mo's 6 foot. Okay. Reach.
Yeah, but Liam's like 6.
No, I know he's 6'6". He's fucking giant. 81 reach.
Super long.
I can't remember what McGeary's bread and butter is. I think he's kind of like a pitter patter.
Mostly
kind of
a grappler, but he's
mostly a grappler. Okay.
Mostly a grappler, but he's got a decent outside striking game.
You know what? I think I might change my pick. I'm gonna go with McGeary. Decision. I feel like his size advantage could be too much. He'll just jab, stick to the outside. I don't know what his sprawl is like. I just haven't seen too much. I don't remember too much tape of him.
As long as he doesn't secede ground, like bottom position, I think I am also going Liam via decision. I think he's just going to outwork Mo, and I think the size difference is going to be significant enough to make Mo desperately shoot in and fail on takedowns. And while I don't know that Mo will lose all the grappling exchanges, because I don't think he will, I do think he'll lose enough of them and get pitter patted on the outside and eat enough leg kicks to kind of cause him problems.
Yeah, I agree.
Or just kicks in general.
I agree. I could see it happening. Pardon the noise. I was reaching my goddamn bottle opener. But we're good now. Got round 2 going. Yeah, cool. I think a decision by McGeary is pretty likely in this fact.
What are the odds looking like on that one?
So did you look at that up? Because I was blind and couldn't really see anything specific.
I sent it to you, but here.
Excuse. Yeah, my bad.
I think I got it. So right now on Bovada, since that's what I'm looking at, is minus 210 for King Mo to a plus 170 Liam McGeary. I don't get that line at all. Unless Liam McGeary's injured and I don't know about it, or unless I'm missing.
Yeah, especially since King Mo was coming up being knocked the fuck out. So
he's as high as minus 250 on some of these books.
Well,
that's crazy to me.
Yeah, go figure. Next up, this looks like a really fun fight, especially if you're a fan of grappling. You got Neiman Gracie and former NCAA, or technically not former Penn State wrestling star Ed Ruth.
Yep.
Probably one of the best pure wrestlers in the game.
Who's been
looking
an Olympic
real good
level,
on the feet
but
too.
You know what I mean?
It's still a great
or
wrestling.
much improved on the feet anyway, I should say.
Yeah. So Neiman Gracie, who just the name says it all, is a Gracie. He's 8-0. This guy's 30 years old. He's 6 feet tall. Fights out in New York City. Okay. Last time we saw him, and I believe I saw this fight. I saw some Gracie fight in Bellator. It was probably him. Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, he submitted Javier Torres via arm triangle choke in the middle of the second round. This was back in April. Bellator 198. Yeah, I think this was not.
Yeah, we saw that one.
Was this the initial Chael fight? Yeah, from way early in the year.
No, you're thinking 200. I think the one that we saw in theaters.
No, wasn't that No, we didn't see 200.
Oh, you're right. No, that wasn't
was
200. It was 180 something.
Yeah, we saw like 180 something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but we definitely. I think you and I watched the Neiman Gracie one.
Yeah.
Against Javi.
I remember seeing him submit that guy. So yeah, as he's a fucking Gracie dude. His jiu-jitsu is fucking great. I just look at all his wins just via submission. Ed Ruth is a very, very good grappler. I've said this before, grappling usually over the better striker, but I also like grappling over just pure BJJ practitioner.
Yeah, you mean wrestling.
I mean, yeah, wrestling. Yeah, why am I saying grappling? It's fucking just literally putting everything in one category.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
We know what you meant.
Of course, but yeah, no, I prefer these wrestlers, these guys that just impose their will physically. Ed Ruth, yeah, he's only an inch taller, but he's a wrestler. He's gonna be more stocky. He's gonna be physically stronger. I think he's gonna be able to impose his will on Neiman Gracie.
Definitely the biggest step up in competition for him, though.
Yeah, this is a huge fucking challenge for Gracie. I like
for
Ed
both
Ruth
of them.
For both of them, yeah. I mean, because Ed Ruth could find himself in some trouble on the ground. You know, say he kind of slips up in the transition, or say he does get the single leg or the double leg. what if Neiman slaps on that triangle real quick?
Right,
After
or
the double
leaves his
leg.
neck out there, yeah.
I still like Ed Ruth, though. I think his striking's going to be a lot better.
How do you see him finishing it?
I think he wins.
Or winning it.
I think he wins ground and pound. I think he'll stay confident and he'll just be fucking throwing bombs. I mean, I don't know how Gracie's chin is. Granted, from what I've seen, he's just purely, I'm just gonna submit you kind of guy. He's just a grappler. So
Do you have a round or?
I'm gonna go round 3. It's gonna be some exciting shit.
I'm seeing it pretty similar. I actually have him in the second via TKO ground and pound. Mostly because I think just his overall pace and pressure is going to be a problem for Neiman Gracie.
Yeah.
Unless Gracie's able to catch something pretty significant early, I think the pace and pressure are going to be a fucking problem for him.
Yeah.
Because Ed Ruth has looked really goddamn good, especially in the recent fights where he is just dominating dudes. And I just see him constantly putting Gracie against the cage and doing that Habib shit where you just constantly clinch wrestle and get takedowns and let them stand up just to get another takedown and that kind of shit. So, I'm going to go ground and pound second, but I could see it going decision, and it wouldn't blow my mind to see Gracie get a sub in this, but I think Ed Ruth probably dominates consistently throughout it.
I could see it. And, I'm just hoping for a good showing either way, man. I'm a big fan of just grappling affairs, but I think it'll turn into something else. I just kind of have that feeling, so. Next up.
Looks like Ed Ruth, real quick,
Ed
Ruth is pretty dominant favorite at,
the
Bovada,
odds.
he's a
I need to
minus
get on
380
Yeah.
to a plus 290 Neiman Gracie.
That's right.
And on some books, let's see, it looks like most books have this fight not going to a decision. Looks like most of them have Ruth within the distance. Although, wow, Gracie within the distance is 415 plus 415. That's kind of wide.
Yeah, it seems a little wide.
So that's interesting. Also to note, Ruth by decision is plus 475 on a couple books, which is also interesting.
Okay. I like that. Lyoto Machida. So we have former UFC light heavyweight champion Lyoto Machida making his Bellator debut. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
He's going up against former Bellator middleweight champion Rafael Carvalho. Probably said that wrong, but trying.
Nailed it.
Lyoto Machida, last time we saw him, he front kicked to death Vitor Belfort. That was fucking
sure did.
Beautiful.
He front kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah, that was really bad.
He just Randy Coutured the hell out of it.
Vitor is retired now, right? I hope. I believe he retired.
I mean,
I hope he
sure.
retired.
Wait till Oscar De La Hoya hits him up.
Yeah. God damn it. Don't. Never mind. Don't mention
It's
that fucking
too real,
moron's
isn't
name,
it?
but you're so right,
it's too
unfortunately.
real.
And then before that, Lyoto Machida defeated Eric Andre in a fight that I believe he lost, but he got the split decision. I mean, it was...
That's right, that Eric Anders fight, where, we both had Eric Anders winning that, but it was 29-28. It was close.
Oh, and then he fucking got slept by Brunson. But look at that, though. He fought rock hold, got finished, then he got elbowed to death by Yoel. Holy shit, then he got knocked... Like, the UFC was trying to get him to retire right there. God damn.
Yeah, his last 5 official losses
Holy
were Phil
fuck.
Davis in 2013, Chris Weidman in 2014.
Ooh, that Chris Weidman fight was really good. I'm have to
and
go back
then
and watch that.
Rockhold Romero Brunson. Like, that is a crazy
and he had a win
schedule.
over Gegard.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
The only thing that worries me is a lot of those he lost via mauling.
Yeah. So, that brings us to Rafael Carvalho, who, if I'm completely honest, have I ever seen... Oh, yep, I did see him fight Gegard. That's right. And, he got fucking destroyed.
He got dominated by Gegard.
Yeah.
He just lost all the wrestling exchanges, mostly.
Okay, he beat that Italian guy when it was in Italy, because they're like, fuck it, this Italian fighter needs to have an
Dude, they
Italy
sacrifice... it's the Alessio Sakara sacrifice hour.
Yeah. Melvin Manoff... Oh, yeah, he's that Dutch guy, right? Who he would bomb on people. Oh, he beat Melvin Manoff twice. Oh, he fought Joe Schilling. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, Brandon Halsey had a big win over.
Yeah.
He has some big wins on his record, but this is the biggest name probably.
I don't really
maybe Melvin.
Really kind of who to go with here. Part of me's kind of thinking Lyoto for some reason, but he is pretty fucking old. Not that you can't swing and bang at that age, but he's 40. Holy shit.
It's definitely a tough one. Rafael isn't young either, though.
You know what? I think I kind of like Lyoto for some reason. I mean, you could probably give more insight on this. How is Rafael striking?
It's mostly a kick-heavy Muay Thai game, but it's not like it doesn't stand out to me in any significant ways how well it'll go on the feet for him. I think if everybody knows the secret to Machida is you pressure him and throw a lot of feints, and just try and get him to bite on something and then get him on the ground. And he's good on the ground too, but I just mean like that's how Chris Weidman, that's how everybody's beat up Lyoto Machida is you bait out counters and that he's going to clearly throw, and then you counter off of those. And a kick-heavy game against a guy like Machida, especially if Carvalho can work leg kicks and body kicks without getting countered, I think that is how you beat him. You just draw out Machida's strong, like heavy counters, and then follow that with a big leg kick or a big body kick. But it's a tough matchup for both of them, I think. So I'm not ultra confident either way.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you had to say.
So you say you're going Machida?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just still kind of figuring Machida's going to catch him with some. I mean, dude, look at this goddamn picture. That his front kick is pretty money.
I mean, for sure, he's hit it twice in high ass, like super high. What's the word I'm looking for? High pressure situations.
Yeah. High pressure, high.
So you think KO?
Tension. Yeah, fuck it, dude. Why not? I'll catch this dude right in the mouth.
Do you have a round on it?
Yeah, you know what? It's gonna be a surprise. Round 2, like right at the start too.
Second.
Why not?
I honestly would not be surprised.
This card's gonna be solid all around, but this could be one of those fights you're just like, oh shit, and I'm like, wow, well that's over.
I think either way, it's gonna be like that. I'm gonna take Rafael Carvalho probably via. I'm trying to think if I'm gonna take him via finish or via. I'm gonna take him via decision.
That's a
I think
good pick.
Lyoto's going to move enough. I just think Rafael is going to land enough leg kicks and work enough of his kicking game on the outside and at least throw enough feints at Lyoto to make Lyoto second guess a lot of his big power shots he's going to throw. So I'm going to take Carvalho. If Rafael is any trouble actually pressuring Machida or throwing feints without eating big shots, then it's going to be a long fucking night for him. Also, the ground game, I'm not as confident as I feel like I should be about Rafael if he gets it to the ground. I do think he has the advantage, but also Machida's pretty slick from the ground and has really good takedown defense. And if Rafael tries to work a game where he's really trying to get the fight to the ground, I think that's going to be a big detriment to him in the long run. But overall, yeah, I'm leaning Rafael for now, at least, via decision.
I like it. And the odds on that...
they're about dead even.
Yeah. According to Bovada, minus 105 for Lyoto to minus 125 to Rafael.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the other books, they're literally dead even, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And then that brings us to the main event of the evening. This is a women's flyweight title fight.
Wow, Carvalho by decision is plus 320. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
On a couple sites, so that might be worth looking at. If you want to put together a shit-eating wild man parlay, that might not be a bad add to it.
Yeah. So we got the women's flyweight championship with defending champion Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, also known as the Eliminator, I think. Makes sense. Going up again. American. Ilima-Lei
Also,
Macfarlane.
shouts out to SDSU's own.
Yes.
Your alma mater's
I'll
own.
try my
Ilima-Lei
best to not
Macfarlane.
have any bias whatsoever, but I don't think it'll matter.
By the way, I'm biased as shit in this fight. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I already know who I'm going to pick. She's going up against Canadian fighter Valerie Letourneau. You may be familiar with her work when she was in the UFC. And they didn't have flyweight or Bellator, and she was dying half the time to make weight, unfortunately. So
Yeah, it's fucked up. She moved to Bellator for a 125 division, and then right after she did it, they added a 125 division.
Because she'd probably be... I feel like she'd still beat a lot of... I mean, whatever's had fucking 125 right now. Hell, she'd probably get a title shot against fucking Shevchenko.
I was going to say she'd probably have the next title fight just based off a resume, judging by how they're booking that shit.
So, Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, she was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. She is Hawaiian. She fights out of here in San Diego, California. We are definitely not biased towards her. She's
San Diego Combat Academy.
Yep, she's 28.
Team Hurricane Awesome.
Last time we saw her, was it the inaugural title fight, last fight? I believe so. Right.
Was it? No. Whose?
For Ilima, like they
No. I believe she won it off
Laura? No.
Cody,
I think it is Ducati. Yeah, she fought her twice. It's got to be Ducati. Yeah.
I'm terrible at lineage for Bellator belts because it's moved around.
Wait. Oh, you can press the plus sign. 3.
Yeah, but like I can never tell.
Oh, okay. It was Ducati the first time.
Yeah, the second
fight.
time, right?
Yeah.
For the vacant title.
Vacant title. Okay, there we go. So this is her second defense. The last time we saw her, she submitted Alejandra Lara, who just fought on tonight's card, 212.
Yeah, and looked good, but
looked good.
did not get the win.
So Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, this is her second defense. She's going up against Valerie Letourneau, a scrappy veteran. She trains at ATT, I believe. Yeah, because she's partnered. She
Hector Lombard.
Yeah, she helps out Yawan in her training camps. Last time we saw Valerie Letourneau, she had her first 2 Bellator fights. She's won both of them. Her debut was December of 2017. She defeated Kate Jackson unanimously. And then her most recent fight was this past June 29th. She defeated Christina Williams unanimously.
Got caught a couple times, but definitely won that fight easily. Clearly won that.
Yeah. If I remember correctly from seeing Valerie fight, she's comfortable in the clinch. She really kind of is like an outside boxer too. She'll just throw that quick straight jab. I think she's pretty sure she's orthodox and just kind of bounces back and forth her footwork, and just kind of looks for openings. I think she's kind of more of a counter puncher if I recall now.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, everybody in that division kind of just throws flurry counters when they feel like they're safe to. So it can get kind of tricky, but yeah, she definitely leans towards either sticking on the outside or rushing in with combos.
And then Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, if I recall correctly, is very good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's her bread and butter.
Yeah, pretty solid jiu-jitsu. Wrestled in high school and went to SDSU. So I'm picking Ilima-Lei Macfarlane because I am a big fan.
I'm picking her via submission. I guess, but then again,
she's fighting out of San Diego. What do you guys expect from that?
I mean, I don't remember how Valerie's submission defense is.
It's good. It's very good.
So this probably will go to decision, unless she really pushes.
Yeah,
but
this is a tough fight for Ilima.
I think it's going to decision.
So you taking Ilima by decision?
Yeah, I definitely have Ilima.
I'm really struggling with this pick. So, man, I think your pick is the right pick. However, I'm going to take Ilima via sub in the 4th.
Okay. I like that too.
My main reason is I think she's going to push a pretty crazy pace because it's going to be in Hawaii. I think she's going to lose the first round, and then I think she's going to make Valerie work to a point where Valerie's going to gas. I
I can see that too.
It might be third. It might be fourth. I see probably either Head and Arm or RNC. But you got to realize Ilima's training with girls like Liz Carmouche, who is arguably the next title, or who I think should be fighting for the title next at 125 in the UFC. Even though I think she has a fight booked right now against I forget who. But if you're in the gym every day with Liz Carmouche, you're very used to a heavy top game, and you probably learn how to use a heavy top game pretty consistently. Also, she trains with some dudes I know, like my boy Adrian Nahara, who is trained out there a bunch. Who is I knew his brother in middle school, him and his brother in middle school, and who's a very nice dude. So I'm going that way. It is probably a homer pick as a motherfucker, but I love me some Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, and if you can outdrink John Morgan as a 125-pound female fighter, you're on my care list. Like, there's no way I'm not picking you in a fight. You're a bad motherfucker. So that's how I'm going.
Yep.
Cool.
And the
odds on that?
Yep. Minus 175 for in favor of McFarlane to a plus 145 for Valerie.
Wow. I'm surprised Valerie's an underdog. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, kind of surprising too now that you mentioned that.
I thought Valerie would have been the favorite. But Ilima's been looking very dominant. And she does have that one viral soccer mom KO, so who knows?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that you just.
That was the infamous.
God.
That's the infamous. That's what got her signed to Bellator, and that promotion. I think it was XFO. Was out of San Diego, out of one of these Indian casinos.
Yeah. You're right.
So, man, I'm glad I didn't go to those shows, but I kind of wish I went to those shows. You know what I mean?
Just to be part of that experience, right?
It must have been crazy. Some of those were so lopsided, it's insane. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to UFC on Fox 31. Lee versus Iaquinta
2 in
happening in
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
AKA the home of Rufus Sport.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bang through these first couple prelims because
I'm not even going to open these up, to be honest, in some of these. No disrespect to these fighters. Juan Adams is going up against Chris De La Rocha, or Roca. I don't know how the fuck you say his name, and I don't care.
It's Chris De La Roca.
I know.
Juan Adams is out of the Contender Series. Chris De La Roca is coming off of the fucking slobber knocker fight with Rashad Coulter.
I remember he... Oh, yeah. I really want to pick Juan Adams then, because I hated that fight with De La Roca and Rashad Coulter. So that's where I'm going.
100%.
All right, so I got Juan Adams by knockout. Actually, you know what? Both these guys probably suck, so I'm probably going to go decision. I just disrespected Juan Adams there, so excuse me, because I haven't even seen him fight. So I'm going to go Juan Adams by decision, because I don't like Chris De La Roca. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. All right.
I'm going Juan Adams TKO in the first, only because he looks to be athletic a little bit.
Yeah.
However, if he doesn't put away Chris De La Roca in the first,
I just realized, was this the guy who needed a fucking towel to make weight? Someone on Reddit mentioned that. They said it's like one of the first heavyweights to need a towel. Oh shit.
Which one? Because that could be either one of these dudes.
I think it was Juan Adams, dude.
Okay, you want to switch? Dude, De La Roca via decision is not a bad pick.
You know what? I'm hold on. Yes, I'm switching, dude. Holy shit. Juan Adams needed a towel. They hit 266. This dude's gonna gas so crazy. I think De La Roca's gonna just take him down. Oh my god.
I 100% think they're both gonna gas after 4 minutes of this fight. I just think Juan Adams is gonna clip De La Roca enough times to finish him before that.
That is true. God damn it.
There's a reason why I'm not picking anybody in this fight in fantasy, but I'll take Adams TKO in the first, but Roca by decision is a very decent ass pick.
Yeah.
Also, I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
What are the odds on that? Because I bet.
You know what? Let's unfortunately find out.
I bet Roca by decision is a crazy number right now. That would be the best shitty wild man parlay.
So the regular odds are, according to Bovada, Juan Adams is a minus 450 to a plus 325. Chris De La Roca. You said Roca by decision?
Yeah, what's Roca by decision? That's gotta be crazy.
Yeah, wins inside the distance plus 490.
Oh wait.
Oh,
so
no. That's inside this.
Wins
Excuse
by
me, because that
decision.
can mean anything. Yeah. By decision, plus 1045.
Yes. That y'all want to
Let's
make
go.
a shit-eating wild man play?
Put $10 on that.
Put $5 on that. You still win what? $50.
Yeah. Oh, I just spilled my beer because I'm fucking clumsy.
I could tell because.
Oh, I just spilled it all over my Xbox controller too. That was smooth. Could be fine.
Well, luckily it's an Xbox controller, so.
Yeah, it'll be fine. You can go ahead while I go ahead and kind of clean that up. You can go ahead and tell us how Adam Milstead and Mike Rodriguez is gonna go,
Oh God.
if you don't mind. Yeah, just give it your best shot.
Adam Milstead, the prototype, is taking on Mike Bones Rodriguez. Adam Milstead is coming off a loss to Jordan Johnson. Before that, he had a win over your boy Chris De La Roca and Rob Barrow. Mike Rodriguez, 9-3, is coming off a loss to Devin Clark and a win over Jamel Jones on Contender Series via flying knee. Man, I'm really undecided on this fight. So Milstead, he's a long ortho counter boxer, or he played a long ortho counter boxing game against Jordan Johnson.
Okay.
He got stuck in the clinch a ton though against the cage, and he got really fucking hard in the third. Although that might have been because it seemed like he broke his left hand. Whereas Rodriguez is a long southpaw with a kind of a classic Muay Thai stance. He throws a lot of hard leg kicks and punches.
I remember he's a hard hitter.
Yeah, hard leg kicks, hard punches. But he lost a lot of long clinch battles against the cage with Clark. He lit Clark up at range, but he was easily out-grappled on the ground, and he gasped pretty fucking hard towards the end of the second. I'm going to go Milstead just off of cardio, essentially. He looked better in his last fight. He didn't die at the end of the second. He died halfway through the third, and it looked like he had a broken left hand. So I'm going to go Milstead, but with like zero fucking confidence at all. Probably Milstead.
I'm gonna go
decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna go him too because I remember who the fuck was it? Mike Rodriguez. Who would I watch tape for? Fuck, it was someone who just fought in the UFC card like a week ago in the prelims, but he fought Mike Rodriguez and he was able to just wrestle fuck him, and yeah, I'm going Milstead.
Devin Clark.
Yes,
probably.
thank you. That's it. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm just going Milstead.
You on decision also?
Yeah, it's just no disrespect for the
do you have the
fighters.
odds on that
I just
one?
don't want to waste my time. I just want to bullshit. I don't want to have to bullshit. You know, like
Fair
I'll
enough.
just say, hey man, you know, just fuck it. What were you saying? The odds? Or
Yeah.
let's find out the odds. Bovada minus 155 to Adam Milstead to a plus 125 for Mike Rodriguez. Next up we
I
have.
can see that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's how I would do it. Close as shit.
It's about how confident I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we have American fighter Dan Ige, who's 9-2, going up against another American fighter, Jordan Griffin, who's 17-5. Dan Ige, if I remember, he trains at AKA. He trains at AKA. He also travels with Habib when he's in the United States with Eagles MMA. He's part of his main crew. I remember this because I watched Anatomy of a Fighter, which is a fantastic YouTube channel.
One of the best.
Yeah, and Dan Ige is also Hawaiian. Not that that means shit because this is in Hawaii, but just on the fact that we were talking about Hawaii earlier. Oh yeah, Dan Ige. Last time we saw him was last June. He knocked out Mike Santiago in less than a minute. It was really bad. He actually made it almost look too easy. Now I remember this fight. That was really impressive.
Super impressive. Had fucking trouble against Julio Arce though. He just straight bull rushed Santiago. Like just ran at him throwing bombs, got top control, and got the sub. Or got the ground. Almost got the sub and then got ground and pound.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Dan Ige, but to be fair, I don't really know shit about Jordan Griffin except what an impressive photo, kind of. It kind of looks like you're almost trying to be like a Kratos from God of War pose with like all that lighting and artificial bullshit going on. You see that? mean, pretty impressive beard.
A little bit of
you
that
see,
on
you
this.
see what I'm talking about? Like this dude's
a little
fucking
bit.
look on his face. Like, he's just
A
like,
little bit of that on Tapology for sure.
Yeah.
Mostly from what I've seen of Griffin, he's a low volume southpaw counter puncher. Well, mostly he just throws in leaping combos. So
by
he'll
the
step
way,
in and just throw big bombs.
Is this not the oldest 28-year-old you've ever seen in your life?
I mean,
Based on his photo,
yes
he
and
looks,
no.
He looks like he could be 45.
How old is Ryan Hall? Because he's not that much older than that, and he looks like he's 90. I love Ryan Hall. Don't get me wrong.
Looks
He
like
just
he'd
looks
be
like
like
a
35.
40-year-old
No, this dude
librarian.
literally looks like he'd be 40 years old. 100%. This motherfucker right here. Maybe it's because that's why he's psycho. They call him native psycho.
Well, to be fair, when he's 40, he's gonna look just like that, though. So it's
Good
not,
for him. Yeah.
Maybe he just ages well. We don't know yet.
Yeah. See, when I'm 40, I'll look
And
like
also,
I'm 26.
I can't talk because, when I was in 6th grade, I looked like I was 18, so I can't talk. Let's see. So, man, mostly the one thing that worries me is Jordan Griffin does have a nasty rear naked choke game.
Okay.
In his last 2 fights, I think he's won by rear naked choke.
Yeah. It says he.
Sean West rear
he was on
naked choke
Contender
was a
Series.
standing
Okay.
RNC. And then he hit the one on Maurice Mitchell, which, is what you're gonna do. He definitely has a solid grappling game. So it's.
Oh shit, dude! He
I'm
fought Juan
curious
Archuleta
about
back
this
like a
one.
couple years ago. Oh wow.
Yeah, he's and it's he had some big fights in LFA and King of the Cage, which are significant, at least significant enough promotion. So it'll be interesting on this one for sure.
I still have Ige by decision. I just like his explosiveness and his basically his ferocity.
I've got the
way this
same
dude-
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looked too sharp, and I have trouble picking a dude like Jordan Griffin who just doesn't have nearly the experience that Ige does at this point in time. I think if this fight took place a year or 2 from now, I would probably like Jordan Griffin, just off style matchups, but Dan Ige has looked really good in every fight except for his fight against Julio Arce, who is a beast with the hands, and even then he didn't look bad in that fight, so I gotta lean his way.
Yeah. The odds on this fight, according to Bovada, Dan Ige is favored a -185 to a +150 for Jordan Griffin. Okay.
Right. Sounds about right.
All right, Zach Cummings, the American fighter, who's 21-6, going up against the other American fighter, Trevor Hot Sauce Smith, who's 15-8. This is a middleweight bout. Don't have too much to say about this fight, except for Zach Cummings lost to an overblown lightweight, if I'm honest, even featherweight. I mean, Michel Praceres is what, 5'5", 5'6"?
True,
This
but
dude's going up to fucking.
Praceres is a tough style matchup for people.
Oh yeah, no, he's a very strong grappler. He's kind of built similarly to Matt Serra. He brings a lot of hooks
He's
too.
definitely squatty and
Dominic
powerful.
Cruz.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Brazilian. He's a squatty Brazilian. Yeah, that's a little concerning based on how much bigger he is than that guy, but it happens.
Yeah, he had he had a really low output against Trattor also.
Yeah.
But he
too.
had decent takedown defense and had some okay scrambles. And then Smith recently just fought Elias. Am I right?
Yep. He lost to Elias, but as as Heavy Hand stated, Elias Theodoro makes anybody look bad.
Yeah. But his clinch and pace and awkward kick game, like kick and striking game,
And his chin,
hard to look
evidently, against
that
Eric
too.
Andre.
It's hard to look good against that dude
Yeah.
ever, even when you land
Yeah.
bombs. So.
Yeah, I don't really know who the fuck to pick, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of a coin flip for
I
me.
do have a coin.
There
I
you
do have
go.
a coin I'd like to flip.
Do it.
I actually found, or didn't find, in change, I actually have a $50. Are those pretty rare? Because I've never actually had one. It's
I
pretty
think
sick.
I have a $50 in my wallet. I'm not sure. I remember.
I feel like Two-Face right now from Batman. He always is flipping $50.
My reference was going to be, I believe, oh god, the Patricia Arquette movie with Christopher Walken talking about eggplants.
True Romance.
I think
written by Quentin Tarantino. Yep.
Was it? No, wait. It's not True Romance that has the $50 though, is it?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
It's
you had the actors right.
Oh god, damn it! It's
fuck. What is it?
Nick Cage. In
Nick Cave. I like their band.
No, not Nick Cave. Nick Cage in oh fuck. The David Lynch movie. That I love also.
Wasn't it like adaptation or Matchstick Men?
No. The Vegas one where he plays Elvis.
Oh, Leaving Las Vegas.
No, where he plays Elvis.
Oh, you're thinking of 30,000 Miles to Graceland?
Nope.
No. Fuck. No, that's the guys who impersonate Elvis.
It's Nick Cage.
God.
It might be Nick Cage and Patricia Arquette. No, it's Juliette Lewis. Nick Cage and Juliette Lewis. Is that right? Am I confusing 1900 movies right now?
You can't see when I think of Juliette Lewis, I think of Natural Born Killers.
Okay, let me just pull up Nick Cage's fucking goddamn.
Let's get distracted real quick. It's all good.
It's Wild
but
at Heart.
While you're doing
Wild
that,
Heart.
let's see what
Wild at
what
Heart.
is it? Wild at Heart. Yes.
100%. That is the movie where they have the. I think it's a silver dollar though, not a $50. I can't remember.
So
one of the two.
Are these odds even on here? Jesus Christ! Well, let me flip this coin. So I have heads for Zach Cummings and tails for Trevor Hot Sauce Smith. Let's see how this goes. I got tails, so it looks like I'm going with Trevor Hot Sauce Smith.
That's fair.
And the odds on that are he's an underdog. Trevor Hot Sauce Smith plus 245 to a minus 315 for Zach Cummings.
Yeah, I've got Cummings by decision, but with like next to zero confidence, other than unless he's able to consistently outwork Trevor Smith and Trevor Smith gasses. I think Trevor Smith has plenty of opportunities in this fight. Do you have a method, or you just going decision?
I'm going decision, to be honest.
That's probably smart.
Yeah. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Hermanson versus Gerald Mearshart?
Man, I've been going back and forth on. So when I first saw this fight, I was like, "Oh, I have Jack Hermanson all fucking day in this fight." And then I went back.
That's what I initially thought too.
And then I went back and watched footage, and I'm real nervous about picking anybody. I was gonna pick up Hermanson in fantasy, but
You're right, by the way, this guy is the Joker too.
Yeah, that's why I got confused earlier. But the problem is his most recent two wins are against Thomas Lattis and Brad Scott and Alex Nicholson before that. So that doesn't tell us a lot about his level of competition outside of Thiago Santos and Cesar Fajeda, who are both very high level for that division. So that makes it weird. And then on top of that, Gerald Mearshart, I watched the first round of the Oscar Peixoto fight, and I was like, oh, Jack Hermanson has this shit all day off of scrambles and pressure. And then I watched the second round of the Oscar Peixoto fight, and I was like, oh shit, Gerald Mearshart just became a different person in this second round and was absolutely the best fighter I've seen at that weight class in a while. So I'm very unconvinced of how this is going to go either way.
I'm going Mearshart based on looking at his rap sheet right now and how he's finishing these fights. This is too impressive for me not to pick him, to be honest.
He looked like
the only thing I could see
garbage in the first round.
He looks like he's a submission artist just based on his wins, but Hermanson's a guy who looks like he has good top control, but that's based on who he's fought. Talis Lightis, sure, that's impressive. Maybe not really in 2018. Sorry, Talis Lightis. I just can't pick him if he has wins over like Alex Nicholson. I'm sorry. I'm definitely going Mearshart in this one. And I think it's a weird fight.
What method?
You know what? He's gonna go fucking. He has. Yeah, it says he has some losses to Hermanson to BJJ, but I can't pick Mearshart because I don't know how good his BJJ is compared to Hermanson's. So yeah, I'm gonna go decision for Mearshart.
Man, man. I am so fucking undecided on this.
Flip a coin.
Do I have a coin? I don't think I have a coin nearby anywhere.
Flip a bottle cap.
I can definitely flip a bottle cap. No, you know what? I'm going to actually commit to something rather than just leaving it up to luck.
Stick to your guns.
Which means I'll probably get this wrong. I'll go Hermanson.
Not a bad
I
pick.
just
I can see
can't.
ground and pound.
The only way I could pick Mearshart is if I believe he changed as a fighter in the middle of his last fight.
Like he just flips that switch?
Yeah. He just became a different kind of fighter in that fight, which is possible. And if he did, I think he wins. But Jack Hermanson is so good at winning scrambles and getting top position, especially in his last fight against, who was it? Talos Latis. And even the Thiago Santos fight, like he won some of those grappling exchanges in pretty significant ways. So I guess I'm going Hermanson. And if I do go Hermanson, I guess I'm going. Oh God, it's so hard.
I would go ground and pound if I were to go him, but that's just me.
Well, the other thing about Hermanson is his last win against Talos Latis was the one I believe where he fucked up his leg really bad in the second and then came back to finish in the third.
Ooh.
So I guess I'm going TKO third for Hermanson, but I hate that pick.
I mean, the odds, you got Hermanson's favorite of -165
Is
to
he?
+135.
I don't feel confident in that at all.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have to see.
Jared Gordon versus
I don't
Joaquim
know what to
Silva.
say,
This fucking fight, man.
I'll let you take over on this one. I don't know enough.
So this,
to be honest,
this fight is either going to be a blast or the most boring fight on the card. I can't tell. Silva is mostly sticks to an ortho counter game, at least against Pacelli did. He literally only threw single power shots the entire fight. Extremely low volume. Up until the third round where he was just wild as shit and throwing just hammers the entire time, not landing a lot. Jared Gordon is an orthodox fighter. He starts a bit slow. He got hit in the dick twice by Fajeda in the first minute before getting finished by him. But he was still landing some counters despite Fajeda's crazy pace. He got caught with that with a really hard left hook and a combo, like where they both were in a long extended exchange, and they both threw a left hand, and he just got caught with one.
Yeah.
And he definitely pushes like a high pace pressure counter punching kind of style against Hochran, where he's in his face and he's constantly feigning and pressuring and getting Hochran to bite on shit just so he can throw counters. So I'm gonna lean Gordon TKO second just by pushing the pace on Silva and forcing him to throw giant wild overhands and making him miss and making him pay. But if Silva at all connects, I think it's going to be trouble for Jared Gordon. So I'm going to go Gordon TKO second via ground and pound, but I'm not that confident in that. I'm not confident in a lot of picks on this card.
Yeah, as am I. I'm not really too confident. I'm going to have to agree with you with Gordon here, mainly because the way you explained it and because most podcasts listen to, I believe their pick was Gordon, and if I have no fucking clue, I already flipped a coin. I could flip a coin again, but why would I do that when I'm just going to agree with you and what I heard?
What method do you like? Do you like him to finish or get a decision? Or
I'm going to agree with you, man. I like the finish. I like that call.
Second?
Yeah, second round sounds good to me. And the
Cool.
odds on here, for those who are curious, Jared Gordon's a -140 to a +110 favorite over Joaquim Silva. This fight, however,
We are finally to our main card.
I am not going to ignore this. We're going to continue.
No,
here.
wait, we're not to our main card. Jesus, how did I?
Almost.
Sorry,
I will not
the
ignore
order is
previewing
different
this
on,
stuff.
the order is different on
So.
Tapology.
That's. Wait. So what fight are we on? I'm about to look at Drakkar Close.
Yeah, I think Drakkar Close is next.
Okay. So we have Eugene S. Robinson, as he called it, my favorite cologne, is Jakar Close is fighting against veteran Bobby King Green. Jakar Close has a record of 9 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. He's 30 years old. He fights out of Glendale, Arizona. I believe he's in the MMA lab with Benson Henderson and those guys. I know there's other guys there, and I always forget their names. Don't mean to do it on purpose.
Sean O'Malley.
Yes, that's right. Sean O'Malley. The Sugar Show. Last time we saw Jakar Close, I saw him fight on my birthday earlier this year. He beat Lando Venata, and that was a very entertaining fight. It was a unanimous decision victory. Before that, he lost to Take Care of Your Underwears, also known as David Tamer. Unanimously. That's still probably one of the greatest tough moments ever, just because the look Cody Garbrandt had.
He didn't spritz anybody or come on sushi, but it's up there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. God, that was funny. I remember when you told me that. I didn't believe you, and then I watched. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Very upsetting. Also, I heard the coming on sushi thing was fake.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be real. That'd be like you could probably. I don't think you could sue someone for doing that. I don't know if
I mean, you probably could.
You know, you probably could. Yeah, you see, you salted my food and you're assaulting my body. So, sure, that's probably a real thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Emphasis on the word salt.
Yeah, that's assault, brother.
That's a Harley. That's assault, brother.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well.
Me too. Shouts to Alaska.
Dude,
hopefully he hasn't frozen over yet.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I think they had an earthquake like 2 weeks ago. I remember he posted. I think he's actually fine, but I remember he said he was out without power for a couple of hours, which can't be fun when it's cold as fuck.
No, not so much. But luckily, there's plenty of shit to burn up there. So.
And there's plenty to drink. Anyways.
That too.
So Jakar Close, he also fought before Take Care of Your Underwears. Oh yeah, he had an impressive little streak against Mark Diakiese. Kind of derailed that hype train, at least at that time. Yeah, so that's how he's been going. He's been going all right, doing pretty well. Kind of just came off a loss and a win. Bobby Green, who's a veteran, he is 32 years old. Okay.
Hell more experience.
Yeah, big time. His last fight he won unanimously over Eric Koch. Before that, he fought to a draw versus Lando. I don't know if I ever saw that fight. It must have been good.
It was competitive as shit. Well, Bobby Green's always in split decisions or draws. Like,
yeah.
Bobby Green.
Oh, I remember when he knocked out Dustin Poirier. That's right. Oh no, he didn't knock out. He lost. Excuse me, I'm reading.
He knocked him
wrong.
down.
Jesus
if I remember right.
Yes, and he got knocked out by Dustin Poirier. That was a good fight.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the fight when Bobby Green dodged some shit from Poirier, but he didn't realize Poirier knows how to slip transition into combos. I can't remember what that term is called. He also he's
like
gliding
flip counters.
Yeah,
or
it
pull
was
counters.
When Dustin Poirier threw the combo right, and then I remember Bobby Green just literally puts his hands down and starts talking, like you can't hit me, and then bang, he gets fucking cracked and knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
I gotta find that. It was hilarious. I remember it was really popular on Reddit.
I believe. Didn't he have a fight against Diaz too? Or am I making? Nope, that was Michael Johnson. I'm a racist.
He was supposed to fight Abel Trujillo a bunch of times. That got canceled.
Yeah.
But, and Jorge and...
Okay, Jorge is the fight I was thinking of, yeah.
God damn it. Yeah, Bobby Green's coming off a victory before that. He had a loss to some killers. Rashid Magomedov, Dustin Poirier, Edson Barboza. I mean, he went to decision versus Barboza. So, this is interesting. You have a veteran versus an up-and-comer.
Which way are you leaning?
I think I'm going Jakar Close. I really like what I've seen from this guy.
Do you have a method on that?
A decision. Both these guys are they put their skills on display without really kind of overdoing it. I don't think they really try to go for a finish unless it's absolutely within reach.
Yeah, so I'm going close via decision too, mostly because Bobby Green has a low output counter game, mainly low output counter boxing game that he pushes. And I think Close is just going to be able to pick him apart in the outside and put enough volume and pace on Bobby Green to make him consistently lose rounds. I would not be surprised if Bobby Green picks up one of the 3 rounds, but I think Close probably takes it in the long run.
And the odds on this are, I guess, I don't know, they're interesting. Bobby Green is a plus 200 underdog to a minus 260 favorite, Jakar Close.
That seems too wide.
Yeah.
Like, while I agree, Close, I think, should take this, I think that's a pretty wide line for... Well, to be fair, it seems like a bad style matchup for Bobby Green, but we'll see.
Speaking of interesting fights on this card, I'll be honest, I have no clue who to pick in this.
So I'll go ahead and run it down to make
Yeah,
it quick
thank you.
because I don't have a ton to say about it. This is the first fight on the main card, last fight on the prelims, what it is. Dwight Grant, who is 8-1, coming off of a Contender Series win over Tyler Hill, aka Zane Simon. He's out of AKA.
Oh yeah.
And he's taking on Zach Otto. I think as far as I can tell about this fight, this comes down to whether or not Otto can at all implement a wrestling game. If Otto can hold him down for 15 minutes, I think he wins this fight. However, I'm taking Grant via KO in the first with the big counter combo. Because that's what he likes to throw. As soon as you throw a punch, he likes to come back with a three or four piece combo of all hooks with bad intentions. And I just think he's going to be able to work that against... I think he's going to be able to work it against Otto consistently enough to where unless Otto can just constantly wrestle him and not get worried about the as Jack Slack would say, black explosive power of Grant, I think...
it's a real thing.
Yeah, so I'm going Grant KO in the first.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to just cop out and just agree with you on this one, man.
What's the odds looking like on that?
The odds on this fight between Dwight Grant and Zach Otto, according to Bovada, a minus 285 for Dwight Grant to a plus 225 Zach Otto.
That's about where I see it. I could see it a little closer, but Zach Otto, level of competition and just we haven't seen him face like the only real athletic dude we've seen him face is Sage, and as soon as Sage started landing anything significant, his entire wrestling game was completely shut down. So it's hard to lean towards him in that one. Why don't you go ahead and start off Jim Miller versus Charles Oliveira while I grab a beer?
Yep, so Charles Stu Bronx Oliveira, whatever you want to call him, is going up against scrappy veteran Jim A10 Miller. Charles Oliveira has a record of 24 wins, 8 losses. This is a lightweight bout or a featherweight bout. It says he's listed at lightweight, even though I'm pretty sure he's a featherweight. Either way,
it's definitely not. Actually, this might be a.
I think it's a.
No, wait. This
fight.
should be at feather, right?
No, I think it's. I don't. You know what? I have no fucking clue what weight class this is at. Except I do remember Charles Oliveira missed weight one time because he was caught at McDonald's. That led to missing weight.
Yeah, it's a 155.
He had too many quarter pounders and Big Macs.
I remember. Yeah, no. It looks like according to Topology, it's a lightweight. Which I think his last fight was lightweight also. If I
wow, he literally just fought a couple months ago. Charles Oliveira, we saw him September 22nd against Christos Giagos, that Greek guy who literally just fought a couple weeks ago too. It's a fun coincidence. He rear naked choked his ass in the second round. Before that, he guillotine choked Clay Guida. And before that, he almost died. Not really. Against Paul Felder's elbows to the face. That was really fucking bad.
Yeah, it looks like the last fight Oliveira had at 145 was Pettis.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so
yeah, I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, he got choked out by Pettis. That's right.
Long time ago.
Fuck. Oh, yeah, 2016. Okay. And then he got guillotined, so that's his weakness. It looks like it depends on his opponent's BJJ is what it really is. And wrestling, or grappling, I should say, if you factor in all those styles. Jim Miller is definitely no slouch when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and just grappling in general. The 35-year-old, last time we saw him, submitted Alex White, who I believe was a prospect at the time, or still is. This was just this past September 8th. Before that, he was on a 4-fight skid, but to motherfucking Dustin Poirier, Anthony Pettis, Francisco Trinaldo, and Dan Hooker. Holy shit. It's like, get out of the UFC, Jim Miller, is what Dana's saying. Or whoever Yeah. Wow.
Some rough matchmaking.
That's
kind
kind
of
of nuts. This is tough. I'll be honest. I can't really remember Charles Oliveira's striking like ever.
It used to be like a very standard Muay Thai game.
Except I remember when Frankie Edgar fucking destroyed him like really bad.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know how to throw punches, but that was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. Fuck. I know Jim Miller has like dirty boxing. I think he gets inside pretty well, but other than that, I still think he kind of leans really forward puts his weight on his front foot, just jabs, keeps his chin down. I don't know, dude. This comes down to whose Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is better. I have no clue. I'm kind of leaning towards Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
But I can't really... you know what? Fuck it. I got him... I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I kind of want to lean decision, but... I feel like this dude either chokes you out or gets choked out.
Yeah.
You know? So it literally comes down to his...
Decision
and I don't know
like
who does, but
the
I'm just going to gamble.
pick if you're going Oliveira.
No, fuck it. I'm gambling. I'm going Charles Oliveira via submission. That's literally how this dude fights. He submits you or he gets submitted. But I don't know whose BJJ is better. If I were to guess, I'd say the Brazilian.
What round? Do you think in first or second?
Second round.
Man. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to lean the same way. I think essentially what he ends up working. I like Jim Miller a lot. If Jim Miller really did turn a corner after his last fight against Alex White, where he finally was able to get the Lyme disease issues under control, I think he could easily win this fight by just pushing a pace on Oliveira. However, if Oliveira is unable to, or if Jim Miller is unable to push that pace on Oliveira, I would not be surprised for Oliveira to either catch a guillotine off of like a hard body kick that hurts Jim Miller, or Jim Miller crumples from a body kick, especially since it's southpaw versus orthodox. Yeah. And Oliveira his kick game has definitely been taken up a notch recently. So I like probably in the second round for Oliveira to land a hard body shot and get Jim Miller to either give up a neck from guillotine or for an RNC, just by being absolutely bludgeoned in the liver.
I see that. The odds, by the way, I'll have you take a guess. What are you thinking? What are you guessing?
Man, it's really hard to pick. I would figure Jim Miller's a favorite for decision and Charles Oliveira is a favorite for sub, is what I would figure. I guess the overall bet, I would think probably Oliveira barely, but it's probably about even.
You're not going to like these odds.
Really?
Well, all right. Oliveira is a minus 315 to a plus 245.
That's way too wide.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Miller by decision is plus 685.
Oh, there's another shit-eating... All right, where's the shit-eating wild man parlay card is fucking him via decision, and who was the other person? We mentioned it earlier in the episode. You guys remember.
Fuck.
I don't remember who it was.
Is that the coin flip fight?
It might have been Roca.
Yeah, it was that one. It was that one.
It might have been Roca by decision.
God damn. Yeah.
But
Jim Miller by decision plus 685.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
Wait, what's Oliveira by submission? Oh, it says minus 120.
Yeah. That's what everybody
Miller by submission is plus 700 or 625.
I like him by decision way more than sub for the same price. Yeah. But man, him by decision is not a bad. That's not a bad prop. I would seriously consider that. Like that's the kind of thing where if you want to bet Oliveira straight and then bet like a very small amount as a safety on Miller by decision, that's not the worst bet.
Yeah.
Rob Font versus Sergio Pettis at 135.
Yeah, I'll just say this. I got Rob Font.
Yeah, because 135.
I'm just telling you right now, it's 135.
Yeah, me too.
And
decision?
Yeah, Sergio Pettis is a tough guy.
Yeah.
And he's skillful enough to he'll keep it interesting. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
I've got it the same way.
Yeah,
I just
I mean,
don't. I just don't see Sergio winning enough of the striking exchanges to make this interesting, and I think he ends up on bottom too often against a guy like Rob Font.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a less dominant wrestler, which Rob Font's not the most dominant wrestler, but he's good enough in scrambles to consistently get top control. I think that's going to be a fucking problem for Sergio Pettis.
Yeah.
So unless
That's
Sergio's
true.
able to work, like, an outside kicking and, like, pot shotting game, I think it's going to be a long fucking night for him.
Yeah.
What are the odds on that
Let me look
one?
at the odds on that real quick. I was literally about to skip that until I just remembered. Rob Font is a minus 165 to plus 135 favorite over Sergio Pettis.
Okay. Sounds about right.
That's not too bad.
Like, I don't see Pettis
next
as a
fight-
big underdog. I just don't.
Oh.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
It's harder. It's harder to see a win for that dude, especially coming off his last fight where he had trouble with a 125er that was able to just kind of outwork him.
Yeah. That's true.
So,
All right, so-
this fight is. This is probably my most anticipated fight on this card. Well, these next two.
Yeah. This is a good one, though, for sure.
It's great.
Yeah, Edson Barboza, a lightweight bout. I don't even really need to introduce him. You should know who the fuck he is. Going up against Dan the Hangman Hooker,
Yup.
New Zealand's own. He's also really good friends with Izzy Adesanya,
Yep, training partner.
training partners. Edson Barboza, last time we saw him, he got absolutely destroyed by Kevin Lee. Well, he almost did knock him out with that fucking spinning heel kick. That was actually pretty badass. Had Kevin Lee doing the stanky leg.
That's
fifth
true.
round.
That's true. He did.
And before that, he
He got
destroyed.
dominated for every other second of that fight.
His
but-
last two fights are something you don't want to do. You don't want to go up against two elite grapplers.
Yeah.
Especially Habib. Wow.
Well, when you look at his last 4 losses, they are all top 5 dudes. Even Michael Johnson back in 2015 was
prime.
like top 5, and that was a close
Yeah.
decision.
Yep.
So if
Yeah,
Daniel
Tony
Hooker does get
Ferguson.
this win, it's a big changing of the guard moment.
And Daniel Hooker, the last time we saw him, he beat up Gilbert Burns. Yes, he did. I was there at that fight, but I think it was on the prelims, and I missed it right before I got inside, unfortunately.
He's been putting beatings on dudes.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he fucked up Gilbert Burns. He fucked up Jim Miller. He fucked up Diakaze. Yeah, dude, he's been knocking people the fuck out.
Ross Pearson did
And
pretty
choke him
all right
out.
with him up until he got caught with that knee, but still.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dan Hooker used to fight at 145, huh? That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he lost to Jason Knight when Jason Knight was like super badass. I don't know what happened to Jason Knight lately. Maybe he's like just hitting a cold streak, but
I think people kind of figured his game out a little bit, and figured out how to shut down a lot of his ground game, and figured out also that if you put him on his back, he'll stay on his back, like, which has been a consistent problem for him.
yeah. So I'm trying to. This is actually tough to pick.
It is. Yeah, I've been going back and forth, but I have one of these dudes in fantasy. But that kind of it's a safe play from what I'm saying.
Part of me, I think I'm gonna go with Barboza by decision. I think he just has better
Wow.
output. But I don't know though. Part of me really wants to pick Dan Hooker because from what I've seen, he's been actually wrecking people though, and I can't ignore that. This isn't going to the ground.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
doesn't he
you're
have a
probably
lot of
right.
size on him or no? Let me see. No, only an inch. They're both like the same age. Nope, not at all. I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm gonna go Barboza via decision. I think he's to be a little bit quicker. No, I think it's to be a very, very close fight. I mean, I know I always say don't call split decisions, but I think it'll be one of those fights where you can argue for each guy. I think it's gonna
I
be a
could
really
see
good,
that.
fun, competitive fight. Don't know if it's gonna be super like bloody or anything like that, but I think it's gonna be these guys just kind of just. It's gonna be mostly boxing, like outside leg kicks, and you'll see some spinning shit from Barboza for sure.
I think for sure you're right on that. I'm gonna take Hooker.
It's either Yeah, if there's a finish, it's going to be Barboza by some spinning shit, and then if it's Hooker, he's going to knee him in the fucking face. Like in the clinch against the cage.
I agree, although I will also say Barboza's body kick and leg kick game are underrated and could be a problem depending on how Hooker is prepared for him. But I'm leaning Hooker TKO in the second, mostly because I think it's kind of been shown over the last couple fights that if you're able to put a consistent pressure on Barboza and just do that Nick Diaz style pressure counter game where you're constantly you're pressuring and throwing feints to try and get somebody to bite on something and then countering hard, which Dan Hooker's been very good at as of late, especially with wins like the knee against Jim Miller and the knockout of Gilbert Burns. He's able to get dudes, he's feinting a ton and pressuring and just getting dudes to bite on something dumb and then throwing a giant power shot behind it. And I think he's going to be able to either do the same to Edson Barboza or push enough of a pace to where Edson gasses in the second and he can get a late finish via TKO, ground and pound, or even on the feet. But I'm leaning Dan Hooker, but man, it's risky. I'm not confident at all in it, but I'm going Dan Hooker. Also, I do have Dan Hooker in fantasy, so take that for what it's worth.
The odds on this, according to Bovada, Dan Hooker is a minus 130 favorite to a plus 100 Barboza.
Wow, that line's moved around a lot. I know when Zane and I believe when Zane and Connor were looking at this line for the MMA Vivisection, which I don't know if I shouted out, but it was very good. Both the MMA Vivisection for Bellator, the Bellator cards, and for the tough card, or not tough, the UFC card, they're both very good. But I believe around that time, Edson was a minus 115 to a minus 105 favorite. Okay. It's definitely, that line's been moving a lot back and forth, and I think people are pretty undecided on how it's going to turn out, understandably, because I think it's going to be a tough fight for both dudes. It's basically a matter, as far as I can tell, of whether or not Hooker can push a pace and make Edson swing and miss consistently over enough time to land significant shots.
I like that a lot. So that brings us to the main event of the evening.
Damn right. Also, I'd like to say before we get to this main event,
yes,
Bellator has the better main card, right?
Yeah.
That Bellator 213 card is so fucking good that I'm much more excited for the Bellator 213 main card than this main event. I'm more excited for, but the main card, actually the main and co-main, I'm more excited for on the UFC card. But overall, as a main card, Bellator is putting out a great fucking product, and it's on DAZN tomorrow, which means probably much less ad breaks and bullshit. So shouts to them.
Yeah.
And also, I want to reiterate Invicta 33 tomorrow night as well, which is going to be straight fucking fire. So, anyway.
So, let's see. So let's just start with the obvious. These guys, Kevin Lee, Motown Phenom, this is a lightweight bout, 17 wins, 3 losses, going up against raging ally Iaquinta, who's 13-4-1 at lightweight. Let's get to it real quick in that these guys have fought before, and they fought 4.5 years ago.
Yeah. Neither one of them looks...
169.
Yeah. Neither one looks like their old
2014. February 1st, 2014. Yeah, this is... I feel like... So I'll say I'm leaning Kevin Lee, and we'll go past who he's fought, who he's defeated. Last time we saw Kevin Lee, he pretty much dominated Edson Barboza for most of that fight, except for that, barring that one, he got kicked in the forehead and almost got knocked out. Before that, he had lost to Tony Ferguson via triangle choke in an interim lightweight title fight, although he did have staff. Not trying to make excuses for him, but that's a pretty good excuse if there's any. during that fight.
Like, he
Before
had
that,
staff
he
to
had
the
rocked
level
off-
where it looked like it was a baby growing out of his chest at a certain point. It was
It
a
was bad.
fucking giant lump.
Before that, he had a nice little streak. He choked out Michael Chiesa, and Michael Chiesa's mom was definitely there. Before that,
I thought for a second, I thought you said he choked out Michael Chiesa and his mom. I was like,
No,
wow.
no. And before that, he choked out Magomed Mustafayev, thank you. Before that, he ground pound Jake Matthews. So, and Efren Escudero he defeated, who now is under Golden Boy Promotions, which is fucking comedy. Anyways, raging Iaquinta, last time we saw him, he fought for a fucking title. And you can thank Conor McGregor for that. He lost because he fought Khabib. Like, come on.
On, 10 hours notice? 12 hours notice? Something like that?
He survived, which Conor can't say that. Conor had months to train, so what
He
the fuck
also
does that tell you?
had moments in that fight. Like, he didn't win any rounds, but he didn't look nearly as bad as everybody likes to say he did. Like, that was the fight that everyone said Khabib striking is garbage because of. But also, that was the fight
That was so funny, and then everyone ate their words when they saw Khabib fucking fight. That was so fucking fun to watch.
Well,
Holy shit.
Al is I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the weird split decisions he's had throughout his career. Because he's had a couple. I don't know if it's the weird...
that Jorge Masvidal one.
Well, I think the Jorge Masvidal one and his Ultimate Fighter run is like why people kind of just and the gaps between fights, I think, is why people kind of discredit Al. But
that's right. Al was on. He was on.
He was the. What season was that?
It was season 15. He fought Michael Chiesa, but I think he was also Team Faber. It was two Faber guys because Cruz. I think his last guy was James Vick or Justin Lawrence, one of those guys.
Vince Pichel, it looks like.
Or Vince Pichel. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he also fought Andy Ogle and Miles Jerry.
That's a fun season because
that's a good season. That was a live one, right?
It was a terrible season. The fact that it was live, yeah, because literally they couldn't you couldn't be too weird because you were literally live.
Well, not only that, but it was one of those things where rather than having it be over 15 weeks like they normally are or however long, they actually just ran it for the length of the show. So people had way less time to cut weight and make weight. Luckily Al is he's not an undersized 155er, but he's closer to 145 than 165. Let's put it that way.
Yep, shout out to the inevitable 165 division.
I fucking hope, man.
Yeah, I hope so too. So they've both improved so much that I feel like this fight, I'll say this, I feel like if you know the names Kevin Lee and Iaquinta, instinctively you're going towards Kevin Lee. I'm leaning a little bit, but I do think in all fairness this fight is way closer than people think.
I agree on both.
This is a very close fight.
Points, yeah.
On both, I could honestly see Al winning this, and I could see Kevin winning this, and I'm just trying to figure out what it comes down to. Kevin Lee has great wrestling. He's very big. He's weird. He's big in his wrestler build, but then he's only 5'9".
Something like that.
But he's very strong.
Yeah, I think mostly
Al,
I think this comes down to grappling and cardio. Because I think those two things are going to, especially being a 5-rounder, I think that's what's going to determine who wins this fight.
I'll say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
My pick is Lee via decision. Both these guys have really good cardio from my remember. I know Al does. Al's got a hell of a fucking chin.
Yeah.
That's why I see go decision. If Al's gonna win,
that's a scary pick.
It is a scary pick.
Because
I'm going Lee via decision, but it's because
if it goes
Al
Lee decision, do you think Lee wins the 5th round?
Either way, yeah. I mean, if it goes decision, I think it's gonna be like 48-47. It's
right,
gonna
but
be a competitive
that's what I'm
fight.
saying is, do you think he's winning the later rounds, or do you think he's winning the earlier rounds?
Oh, no. He's winning the early rounds for sure.
That's what makes it real scary is like...
Yeah.
This kind of has a classic Iaquinta split decision / draw written all over it, right?
Yeah. You know what? Hey, if they called it a draw too, I'd just be like, okay.
I mean, it feels like if Kevin can't get the sub in the first 3, this fight might be very close.
Yeah. Excuse me. God damn it. Oh, what are you thinking? Sounds like you're kind of almost leaning towards Al.
Well, I do have Al in fantasy, which is kind of swaying me, but also just because everybody sleeps on Al a lot. And while I agree that Kevin Lee has been looking amazing, I'm not convinced all of his giant cardio dump in the Tony fight was just because of a staph infection or just because of a title fight debut. I am not convinced Kevin Lee has a solid 3rd, 4th, 5th round game at 155. I think at 165 he for sure does. I think at 155 he's cutting off a lot of goddamn weight. And I think it could be very tough for him to be able to hang late in those rounds. And that makes me real nervous that he would be able to. He likes to put a pace on dudes, and he likes to win powerful grappling exchanges with big explosive movements. And I do think he takes the first 2 rounds. I just don't know about the last 3.
I mean, it makes sense for you to think that.
Man,
shit.
I'll take Al by decision.
It's not a bad pick.
I'm not at all confident. Man, I am not even a little bit confident, but I'm going to take Al by decision.
I'll tell you the odds, and
I mean, I know Kevin Lee's got to be a 230, 250 favorite.
These odds are way too fucking wide.
350?
Kevin Lee's a minus 335.
Yeah,
plus
okay.
255.
That's way too wide. I like 250-ish. Like 230, 250 is where I would think would be more realistic.
So, what does this do for the scope
What
of the
fight
division?
fight goes to decision on best fight odds right now?
Let's find out.
So that's a
Fight goes to decision is plus 200.
I like that a lot. Again, if you want to add to your shit-eating wild
Fight is a draw. Hey, obviously the draw bets are kind of stupid, but if there's any fight that's gonna be a draw, this one's not that
This
bad.
is not a bad one.
Plus 9,000.
Okay.
Put $1.
Okay. No, yeah,
Dude,
that's a solid
put
$5
$10.
bet. Yeah, $5-10 bet. That's that's like, oh man, I would not be surprised. Or
So
like,
what is it? $100? $100 wins you $9,000. So $10 wins you $900. You're still getting $900. $10, you get $910. Right?
I don't know if that's how that math works.
I'm really bad at math.
Might
so
be 90.
Or wouldn't that be $1? $1 would get you 90 if it's 9,000. Yeah, you just drop the 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that. 100 gets you $9,000. That means
Yeah,
10
but
gets
like
you
a lot of
900,
those books
right?
have caps on actually what they'll pay.
Yeah.
After a certain point.
Yeah.
I would. Oops, sorry, I just banged the shit out of this microphone. Sorry, I didn't mean to bang my dick into it, or my hand, one of the two. Yeah, call me Mr. Couture.
Yeah, easy, Captain America.
Yeah, for real. Fucking good God, that clip from Fighter and the Kid. Anyway, it's so good. Anyway, we'll wrap this here, but oh man, I am excited for both these fights tomorrow. Honestly, more excited for the Bellator main card than I am for UFC fights, and honestly, more excited for some of the Invicta fights than I am for some of these.
By the way, want to hear the odds on Iaquinta by submission?
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, plus 1125.
What's Iaquinta TKO?
579.
That's not bad. What's Iaquinta 4th round? They even have that one?
Iaquinta in round 4. Wow, this is pretty good. Plus 2,500.
That's not bad.
Iaquinta in round 5 is even better, 3,300.
Yeah, that's like, man.
You gotta
it's like
put
one of those
something
things
on
where you're like, put $1 on it. Who
Even the
knows?
Lee ones. Lee in round 4 is 1,000.
Well, I think if Lee
Lee in
wins,
round 3
he
is
definitely
650.
wins early,
Yeah.
though, is the thing.
Dude, Oh my God, Iaquinta in round 2, 1350. Jesus Christ. Even Lee in round 2 is plus 450. Fuck. Lee in round 1 is 450. Okay. That's actually not that bad.
That's not that bad either. It's a scary fight to bet though, is the thing.
I feel like you can bet a lot and still win.
Yeah, like put a lot of
You
$1
almost bet
bets
$1
down.
on each one. You're like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just fucking profit either way.
No, I love those garbage $1 or like $5 bets. Those are my jam. That's how I bet on MMA 90% of the time. So, oh man. Well, overall, this seems like it should be a fun one. We are way over time, so we will go ahead and wrap this here. But we will be back next week, despite there being no card.
We're gonna do a commentary, right?
Well, technically we can't. Because commentaries don't count as actual episodes for us, the way we number them.
Yeah, that's right.
So next week we're actually going to be back. I think what we'll probably do is do a breakdown of the Rizin card.
Okay.
Or the 2 Rizin cards.
Yeah, we can do that.
And I don't know if there's a Bellator card before the beginning of the year. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. But I'm thinking we'll cover everything other than UFC next week for our breakdown. But worst case, I want to take a look at the Rizin card, and because there's some fun fights on that shit. So we will go and be back with that next week, and then the week after that is our 100th episode, which we will have some big announcements and changes in the works. So.
Oh yeah.
Look forward to that. But Chris, is there anything you want to shout out this week before we get out of here?
Just enjoy the fights, everyone. Watch both cards if you can.
No diggity.
That's all I gotta say.
That's right. Go drink some Mai Tais. Get your Hawaiian shirts out. Maybe even throw on a grass skirt or two.
If you're feeling like a degenerate, put some pineapple on your pizza. I don't recommend it.
Oh, I don't either. But girlfriend Karen is the kind of trash person that's a big fan of it. And also, shouts out to Judo Bill, who I forgot to mention is going to actually be at the UFC Milwaukee fights this weekend. So that'll be cool.
Nice.
Hopefully, we'll get a recap from him of what it was like in the building. I'll have to hit him up on MMA Community or in our DMs and see how Milwaukee was. He says it's his first big card he's going to. So that'll be cool to get his reactions on that. So I look forward to that.
Okay, yeah. This will be fun.
Cool, man. Well, we will be back next Friday. And until then, everybody, enjoy the fights. Enjoy the weekend of fun. Go drink a bunch. It's the holidays. And until next time, go do something decadent. Be out. Leave.